funny text on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Some of you that I agreed with, some of you I didn't agree with. Like Todd in Fayetteville, who texted in this morning asking if Eric Musselman would be fired even if he doesn't get the USC job. Well, then you'd have to pay his buyout, Todd. Now, it is a Too Stupid Thursday. I'm not going to call you stupid, but the idea of that Hunter Yurchek would fire Eric Musselman and then have to pay him, I don't know his buyout up the top of my head, is a
12
stupid
million, I believe
thought. It's $12 million?
I believe so.
Yes, that would be.
That's what I've read.
I know some Arkansas fans have called for that. Some of our texters on the McLarty Daniel hotline have called for that. That is a stupid thought as we get rolling here on a Too Stupid Thursday.
Hey, glad you're in this morning. I'm sure it's going to be an eventful show again. Chuck's going to be here in about 30 minutes. We have not on this program heard from him since all of this started, so we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Hey, we want you to text, we want you to call, but we want you to do it safely. And this week, the Arkansas State Police Highway Safety Office wants to remind you, if you drive while using your device, use those hands-free options to text or scroll through social media, you're a distracted driver. In fact, there's been over 32,000 Americans that have lost their lives in a decade due to distracted drivers in our country. And the problem, as we all know, is only getting worse. Be honest. Have you often driven while distracted? Research shows that younger drivers are even more likely to use their phones while driving. Ty, are you listening to me over there? 8% of all traffic fatalities are now linked to distracted drivers. Are you listening over there? Are you hearing what I'm saying?
What'd you say?
Exactly. You're a distracted host, too, at the moment. Hey, there's no excuse for putting other lives at danger. Don't be a distracted driver. When you're driving, pay attention to the road. Remember this, Arkansas, put the phone away or pay. This message brought to you by the Arkansas Highway Safety Office.
Kind of ties in there. You said drived. You just there for a sec before you said driven or whatever at the very beginning.
I had dove into the comment.
Yeah, I would say that's one of them. So, again, our McLarty Daniel hotline is open. Chuck will be along 30 minutes, like Tommy said. Tom Murphy with us in the 7 o'clock hour, and you all throughout the morning. I know it's not just a one day of reaction. There's multiple days. It was hot in the morning. The conversation heated up about Eric Musselman, and then it just died in the afternoon. I got a text from Keith Wilson over at CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers, and it's just silence. And I got that text multiple times because you really didn't hear anything in the afternoon in regards to Eric Musselman. I'll go back to what I said in the open that you just heard. I don't know how he comes back as the Arkansas head basketball coach. Maybe you can help me this morning and show me the way, show me the path that is still a substantial possibility. But if this report was, let's take it. Let's say that Scott Schrader, who initially reported this at On3, let's say this report is incorrect, false, he got bad intel. Then if you're Eric Musselman, it's one thing to be on someone's hot board. It's one thing to be connected, quote unquote, to a job. But when there is a report out there that you're supposed to be interviewing and it's incorrect, you have to come out, or your agent has to come out, or someone has to come out if it's false and tell people that it's false. Nothing from his camp, nothing from him yesterday. So I think it's fair for every single one of us to believe that this transpired. Now, the term interview might be incorrect. It might have been basically the job offer, acceptance, whatever. You get sometimes the wires get crossed in reporting. Sometimes intel's a little off. Sometimes it's way off. But I think it's fair for every one of us to not just speculate, but assume that he was in Los Angeles, California, interviewing for this job yesterday.
What's the difference between speculating and assuming? Coach me up on that.
Assume would probably be the better word to use in this situation.
Because I don't think there's been a lot of reporting going on. I think there's been a lot of, which word do you want to use? Speculate or assume? I think we've been doing a lot of that. Now, I follow your line of logic, and I don't think you're way off path. If none of this was true and Eric Musselman wasn't seemingly headed that direction, I think someone would have corrected course on the conversation earlier in the day or at some point. That never happened. So I think where you're headed and the premise of what you're saying is spot on. If there was nothing to this, somebody, Hunter Yurchek, Eric Musselman, someone from the basketball camp would have set the record straight. You heard anything on that? But there's not been a ton of reporting because, I just don't think there's anything to report yet, and I don't think anyone's close enough to what's really going on. The reporting will come when a team meeting happens, and players are told, staff's told. Reporting will come when it leaks out with one of the assistant coaches' families or themselves that they are leaving or they're not going to be retained on the Southern Cal staff. I mean, that's where the reporting will begin, is when those closest to this matter start talking.
Well, what do you think? Again, jump in with us via the McLarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Eric suggests that we call this the Muss Fuss. Apparently, he called into Ruskin and Zach yesterday and called it the same thing instead of the Muss Bus, again, the Muss Fuss, which is not an indication, but some of your perception, and I think it's mine to a certain degree, that people, not just fans within the last 24 to 48 hours, but also administration. I don't know. It sure seems to me from the outside looking in that the relationship, as you heard Brett say in the open, is fractured between Hunter Yurachek and Eric Musselman. It's deteriorated. It doesn't seem like they have a good rapport based on what has occurred lately. And again,
is that true? I mean, it appears to be.
And that's, again, we have to put the asterisk. Like, I'm not there in the building. I'm not there in Bud Walton Arena. I'm not there in the Eddie Sutton practice facility. I'm not in Hunter's office. But from the outside looking in, I don't think that's a ghastly statement from me. I don't think that's a horrid, off-the-wall, he's just trying to get click statement. I think a lot of you would agree with that. And so when you don't have a good relationship with your boss, things can go south really, really quickly, especially after performance doesn't meet standards. And something else that was brought to my attention that I hadn't even thought about until it was texted several times yesterday is, did pressure at all get to him? We've heard the Nolan quote before, once you create the beast, you got to feed it. Mm-hmm. He didn't have any pressure in Reno, Nevada at all. Fayetteville, Arkansas is a completely different story as the head basketball coach.
He won't at USC either if he goes there.
There is a drop, like you're saying, Big C, in pressure moving out to Los Angeles if it occurs that way. And the pressure...
Boys. He coached in the NBA. You think pressure in the NBA? I don't think he's running. He's not running scared.
But he hasn't been in the NBA in, 10 years?
I understand, but you think they didn't want to win then? I mean, the premise that he's running from pressure, that doesn't seem, that doesn't hold water with me. I don't think that's what this is about.
He hasn't
at all.
Running from something.
That's just an opinion. You have an opinion. I have. I don't agree with your opinion.
He is. Would you agree he's running from something like Big C just said? Because
you're either running from or to something when you change jobs.
The tools are here, and maybe the home aspect is a bigger deal than we realize. But the tools to win are here. We've seen it the prior 3 years. Didn't see it last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a story that unfolds throughout the day.
All right, we got Chuck coming up in about 20 minutes. Your calls and text as well. A lot to get to here on a Too Stupid Thursday.
Join the local conversation on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Call or text 877-377-6963.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt's. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
This is the Morning Rush.
House here in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Here's to you and yours from the friendly folks at In Good Spirits, your upscale liquor store in Fort Smith. At In Good Spirits, they've got what your taste buds are craving, including flavorful wines from around the world, scrumptious brandies and liqueurs, tempting whiskeys and beers, and fine cigars. Treat yourself to the best as you listen to the game. Check out In Good Spirits, 12100 Highway 71 South, across from Riley Farms in Fort Smith.
Spring is just around the corner, and Jelco Outdoors is ready with all of your spring fishing gear. Crappie, bass, catfish, Jelco has a great selection of rods, reels, and baits to help you fill that stringer. Spring turkey supplies are rolling in daily, and the firearms department is stocked up with ammo for outdoor shooting. Spring is almost here, so get outdoors and enjoy the spring season. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith, for all your outdoor gear. Think spring, think Jelco Outdoors.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
Hey, Ty Richardson for A Cut Above Lawn and Landscaping. They service commercial and residential lawns for weed management and fertilization for a lush, healthy lawn. Need bush hogging? They do that too. A Cut Above also offers tree and limb removal. Don't forget hauling and dumpster rental as well. More than just a mowing service, they're A Cut Above. Call or text today at 479-719-5605. Lawn, landscaping, power washing, stump grinding, leaf removal, mulching, flea tick, and mosquito control. 719-5605.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen, or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Will your bracket be better than Matt Jones, Derek Ruskin, and the rest of the ESPN Arkansas team? Then prove it. Sign up for the HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge presented by On the Mark Sports Bar and Grill in Fayetteville, 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith, and Shelter Insurance Agent Chris Dooley. Registration is easy. Just find the contest on HitThatLine.com. The HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge is also brought to you in part by Walk On Sports Bistro, Century Bank of the Ozarks, Cafe Conchisme, Links at Chaffee Crossing, and Foghorns Wings. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You put her in a crate, and then you hear,
What was that?
Beheba swings and lines it towards left field, deep over Larson's head and over the fence, and Beheba Aloy has tied the game.
Do you enjoy watching Arkansas press conferences? Find all of them on our YouTube channel. You can hear from Sam Pittman, Eric Musselman, Dave Van Horn, and Razorback players. Just search Hit That Line and click subscribe.
You just heard a Phil Elson baseball highlight there. We do have baseball tonight in Bob Walker Stadium as they try and continue to expand on this winning streak. Got some things for Dave Van Horn that we will get to. And Bobby Petrino. Have a lot of Bobby Petrino stuff, but we will get to some more text on the McLarty Daniel hotline and concerning Eric Musselman, what's going on right now.
Hey, you know, summertime's not that far away, and that means pond and creek fishing in a month or two here in Arkansas, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Creek Hopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Creek Hopper works great in tandem with a light spinning rod and reel and with 4 or 6 pound fishing lines. So start getting ready for some warmer weather fishing that's just around the corner. Find your Rebel Creek Hopper at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores everywhere. It's the Rebel Crick Hopper.
Jim Mountainberg texting in, he's more concerned about Hunter Yurachek having the next coach in waiting ready to come on board. And we don't have to get into necessarily who that would be, but I think a lot of fans are hoping that Hunter Yurachek has that plan in place where it's never going to be seamless per se, but they'd like it to be smooth. They wouldn't like a long process. They don't want this to be drawn out. Again, I don't know how this is going to play out down the road, either in the next couple days. I know you cited, I think, yesterday that you expect an announcement by the end of the week, which I think is a fair assessment.
Not for a new coach,
yeah,
though.
But for Eric Musselman's status in Arkansas. But how this will play out here in Fayetteville in regards to the head coaching job.
It may happen today. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you know? I don't know. I mean, I know when coaches get hired, and sometimes when let go, there's levels of approval, levels of contracts that have to be signed off on by boards, and not all those people are just readily available at the drop of a hat to approve and sign those deals. That happens, where things drag on 4 or 5 days sometimes, and you wonder what's going on here. Well, because you think you've got your coach. Well, sometimes the people that, you think just an AD can make a call and boom, it's done. Well, he has people to answer to as well. So I don't know what the setup procedure is at Southern Cal. This will happen fast. I guess the longest out on the board has not happened at all, and Eric Musselman's still the coach at Arkansas. Doesn't that seem just very unlikely at this point? Seems like all of this would be hard to come back from when there's been no
So give me
pushback.
the scenario that how this happens, because I think Clay brought it up, and we had a listener to bring it up with Houston Nutt, and I guess it was the Nebraska, and what was the other job that he
LSU.
LSU job that he potentially entertained. Social media was not then. I don't know if as many people knew about it back then as they say.
Sports talk radio wasn't as much of a thing as.
So that being said,
as we've created it to be now.
Yeah, it's more difficult nowadays because more and more people know about it. In fact, I would think 95% of the Arkansas fans know about this situation with Eric Musselman. So if he does come back, let's say that scenario, which we think is the most unlikely, plays out. Again, I pose the question, how do you come back from that? How do you sell this fan base? And Mac brings up a good point on our Facebook stream, which you can always watch: Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and Twitch. How you convince a fan base that gives you everything that you're giving everything.
Too much damage is done. The only way is if you said it was an April Fool's joke, and that still might. Oh. I'm just kind of playing around, but that's literally the only way, because
no, this toothpaste is out of the tube, and the thing that does need to be cleaned up is maybe a few of the whys. I don't think we're ever going to know. No one's going to lay it out, bear it all out, but some of that stuff will start becoming a little more, will rise to the surface a little bit more. But and we all feel like we're entitled to every detail, because we're the fans of the program. Well, I don't totally disagree with that sentiment, but we're never going to get every detail. But I'm with you in what you said in the opening segment. If this had no legs to it, somebody would have shut it down yesterday.
And that's why
and nobody stepped forward and shut anything down. And, hate to agree with you, but your phone and device is just within arm's length. It doesn't take much for the principles of the matter to put out a 140-character message that could extinguish any fire that shouldn't be burning.
That was my argument for weeks in regards to radio silence from Eric Musselman and this job.
Yeah, but this job wasn't even open when you were saying that.
But
this job wasn't even open when you were saying that. There wasn't even speculation about Southern Cal when you said that. We went on and on about Louisville. We went on and on about SMU. There was never anything to those jobs. Wasn't then. Because of SMU, USC became open. So all of that, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
I felt uneasy after the season ended.
Okay.
And some of the things it didn't at the time, to me, the jobs that were not open was not as pertinent as to how I felt at the time. And I was not willing to say Eric Musselman is no longer going to be the basketball coach, but that's, again, that same philosophy that I pushed early this morning is still applicable 2 weeks ago, in my opinion. Yeah. All right, let's talk to Smack Daddy, who's in Greenwood this morning on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. What's up, Smack Daddy?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, about 9 times out of 10, I agree with the fan nation. But this time, what if we're thinking about this from the wrong standpoint? What if Musselman doesn't have to come tell us why he's doing what he's doing? What if national ESPN radio called you or Tommy and said, hey, guys, we've heard how great y'all are in the morning. We want you to come sit down with us and talk and see if we can offer you something that changes your mind about where you're employed.
I would not entertain the job, no. Because I want to be here. I swear on everything, I would not entertain the job because I want to be here. This is not a better job than 100 radio jobs out here. I'm not better than 15,000 radio hosts in the United States, but I want to be here, period. End of story. Again, there's a lot more.
Personally,
go ahead.
I've worked for my job for 8 years, and if another company offers, I'm going to listen to the offer. It doesn't mean I'm going to go. It doesn't mean I'm unhappy with where I'm at. But with all due respect, you'd be dumb not to listen to them and see what they have to offer.
Consider me dumb. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving the state of Arkansas.
No disrespect at all. But I mean, there's a lot of options for him out in Southern California. So if he just goes and listens and then he comes back and he says, nope, wasn't for me. I'm happy where I'm at. So, I mean, I don't have anything against him for listening to the offer. It's kind of different than a player requesting a trade because they're not happy. I mean, he's just simply, to my opinion, and like Tommy said earlier, you've had your opinion, we've all had. To my opinion, he may just be listening to the offer.
Yeah.
I think he's been seeking out other jobs.
No one, and
appreciate the call.
And someone has to help me on this. No one had a quote back in the day, and I was reading it the other day in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. It was something to the extent of, I can look at the menu, but I can't eat, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I think it was a Bob Holt article from back in the day. And it's one thing to hear about a job, but to actually go somewhere and interview is different. I mentioned this. I've been offered 3 jobs since I've been here in coming up on 6 years. I have not entertained one of them. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing in some of y'all's minds.
And there's a difference between being offered a job and offered an opportunity to explore an opportunity. People sometimes overstate and look. I mean, an interview is not a job offer. It's exactly what it is. It's an interview. It's an exploratory procedure for both sides. And, we'll see. But I can tell you this. If I went home to Laura Kraft and say, hey, I'm going to go have dinner and some drinks with, old Mrs. Jones down the road. We're just, we're not going on a date. We're just going to go play footsies. You think, how far you think that's going to fly at my house? Where do you think I'm sleeping that night? Out with the dogs, So, I mean, it's a fine line because relationships can become irreparable over things like this. And it feels like, based on the radio silence, that might be where we're at.
We are not the town tramp. We are a hot, smoking wife. And if you don't want to be with us, get the hell out. It's that simple. It's black and white, and it's that simple.
Chuck coming up in a minute. Brought to you by APAC Arcola. They have immediate openings in Boone, Mary, and Baxter County. We're going to be in Boone County on Monday morning for the big eclipse. If you're looking for a job in that area, speaking of looking for jobs, let me tell you about it. If you're looking over the fence for greener pastures, APAC Arcola has real green pastures. If you're a CDL licensed driver, heavy equipment operator, concrete finisher, diesel mechanic, got experience with concrete or asphalt, worked in a quarry, I could go on and on. But here's what you should do. Go to jobs.crh.com. Look at their interactive map. Hey, I want to live or work in this area. I already live here. I need a job in Washington County or Benton County. You can look at all the available openings right now at jobs.crh.com. Apply online. They'd love to set up a time to sit down and talk with you about their great pay, their benefits, the jobs, and the opportunities for upward movement at their company as well. That's jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola is an equal opportunity employer.
Chuck Barrett coming up.
Your show is the best one in the state. Y'all are the true ESPN radio.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
This is the Morning Rush.
The Razorbacks have won it.
Diamond Center is proud to present our inaugural Whiskey and Watches event. Now is your chance to get your hands on that timeless timepiece you've been dreaming of. Between now and Thursday, April 25th, in our Fort Smith store, call or stop by to pre-order your watch. Then join us on Thursday, April 25th for a night of celebration featuring rare whiskeys, cigars, and luxury watches. This is your opportunity to add that watch that you've always had an eye on to your collection. For more information or to pre-order your watch today, give us a call. The Diamond Center, celebrating a legacy of love.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Largemouth bass will be spawning soon at ponds and lakes all over Arkansas and Oklahoma. One of the best lures to catch them on at this time is the famous Yum Dinger. We make them by the truckloads in Fort Smith in 3, 4, 5, and 6 inch sizes, and they are in tackle boxes of bass anglers all over the U.S. and all over the world. Wacky rigging the 5-inch model can't be beat for spawning bass. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Yum Dinger.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South C Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Hey, this is Ty Richardson for Jake Neal and his team at Jerry Neal's Barbecue. Jake's dad, Jerry, started cooking barbecue at Jerry Neal's in 1977, and Jake took over and has been doing the same thing ever since. I got ribs the last time I was there. Woo! Man, they were good. Don't forget about the catfish either. It's cooked to order, so it's hot and fresh every single time. The best catfish in the River Valley. Jerry Neal's Barbecue, Catfish, and Catering, 1823 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
How do I drive more traffic to my website? How do I increase my Google rankings? If these are just a few of the questions you have for your business, then we should talk. In addition to sports radio marketing, ESPN Arkansas can help your business be found online. From website design to geo-targeted campaigns, search engine marketing, social media management, streaming video campaigns, and much more. ESPN Arkansas is your digital marketing partner. Go to espnarkansasdigital.com for your free digital marketing audit, or email us at sales@hitthatline.com to schedule an appointment.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Tommy, when are they going to start calling carrying again?
Is that ever going to happen? Is carrying the basketball ever going to be called
make the
again?
game better?
I'm not saying it makes it better or worse. I'm just asking if it's ever going to be called again.
We call it our pickup games.
Do you really?
Yes.
You call carrying? Now that'll start a fight right there. That'll start a fight.
Call it our pickup game. We're sick of watching it. We say carry, we're going the other way.
Oh. You guys want to talk about carrying college basketball and NBA next 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Sure, we could.
Yeah. That'll keep the audience right here.
Riveting content.
Yeah. What else would we talk about? Anything else y'all want to talk about this morning?
Well,
anything?
You do have the number one team in the baseball land back in action tonight. You do have some intriguing quotes from Bobby Petrino that I've yet to play on this radio show. That there's a bunch of them, and again, he basically just said Taylor.
Can we talk about your golf game? You want to talk about that?
It's still there's so many words that are not positive in terms of my golf game.
You know,
We're doing the Masters in a week, though.
Yeah, would be a good time to have Chuck on. A lot going on. I think Chuck might have any thoughts about the last.
I'm just listening.
24
I'm just
hours.
listening to you guys.
You're just observing. We'll talk to Chuck as he is listening this morning in just a second. Hey, if you're making a plan, Ty mentioned the number one baseball team in all the land. Maybe you're making a weekend trip. There's not that many left, honestly, when you think about it. You got this weekend with Ole Miss, and you got a series with Florida towards the end of the month. And, honestly, the games are starting to run out for the regular season. Get on the phone with Ian at the Mill, 479-443-1800. That's where we love to stay when we need a room in Northwest Arkansas because they got big, spacious, oversized suites. They got great high-speed internet, great breakfast to start the day with their European-style breakfast. It's close to the AMP. It's close to campus. It's close to all the fun stuff at the Johnson exit off I-49. 479-443-1800 or look online at theinatthemill.com.
Chuck, the silence is pretty deafening the last 24 hours or so.
Well, that's certainly one way to put it. I think for a lot of people, they probably would share that sentiment. I've got to admit, I thought that we would find out something one way or the other yesterday. I really thought when we left the show, I didn't think it would happen until late in the day because of just the difference in the time zones. But I thought something might happen yesterday, or there might be a new development. Let's just put it like that. And maybe there was, and we just don't know about it. I have no idea. But, it's been interesting to hear people talk the last 24, 48 hours about all of this and just the wide range of emotions that people have. And, it's a situation where I think the thing that I feel worst about is for our people, for our fans, for the people that follow the program. And I'm not talking about the financial investment. I know there's always emphasis on that, and I get that. But I'm just talking about the everyday Arkansan who's emotionally invested in all this, who couldn't get any work done yesterday because, everything they had going on revolved around this. Their recreation, their entertainment, in some cases, most of their lives away from work revolves around this stuff. And they've been very committed. For every one critic, there's been 1,000 unconditional supporters. And I think they deserve better. I'm not suggesting that I think it's the intention of anyone involved in this to disrespect the fans. But I do think they deserve better, and I think they're the loser in all of this right now. That's a long way of saying that my hope's always been, I say always, the last 48 hours, it seems like always right now. My hope in this has been that we were not at the point where the possibility of return was no longer there.
Yeah.
That's always been my hope. And I still have that hope. But with every hour that passes, it diminishes. I think it would be fair to say that for everybody in our state right now. And so that's a long way of saying that I feel today the way I felt yesterday, that this is about to come to a head. But I was wrong yesterday, and I may be wrong today too.
Well, and Ty said the silence is deafening, and that's what makes me wonder that could this, if it just fell through and it didn't work out at USC for whatever reason, is there any way to put the toothpaste back in the tube? I mean, we've heard nothing from the university side, nothing from Muss's camp. We talk about the silence being deafening. you would think if the public conversation was way out of bounds or way off track, Chuck, someone would have at least put a tweet or a message out or something to calm the fires down yesterday.
I know. And that's why I said I thought it was going to come to a head.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily mean that, Muss was going to be the new coach at Southern Cal. I just, thought it would come to a head in some form or fashion, or there would be some sort of new development. And obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You're asking that question. I posted too. The answer is you win. Like if you come back, there's going to be a lot of people that, and I don't know what the percentage is per se, but if you win and you get back to another NCAA tournament run, and
well, you're right.
Well, yeah,
that's the only logical conclusion.
The winning has to start way before the season. The winning would have to start immediately in the transfer portal.
Okay.
The excitement would have to start immediately because you are able to bring some player to this campus because of your presence that excites the fan base. But we had the director of the NIL on last week. What did he tell us? He had 500 people that had signed up for that. You've got to figure out some way to get people excited to get involved in all of that. And if you're Muss and you're trying to kind of put the toothpaste back in the tube, to keep using that phrase, you'd have to win in the portal. That's how you'd get people back on your side.
Well, that's the big picture. And you're right. I mean, there's always NIL concerns and financial concerns in all of this. But if he were to return, the first order of business, and I don't know that you want to talk about getting to the point of no return, there's a lot of stuff going on in that portal right now. There's a lot of kids being recruited, and there's a lot of things happening each and every hour, literally, in that portal. So, and again, I don't know. I'll be perfectly honest on this. I don't know how immersed they are in this. I have no idea. They may be at it 24/7. The staff may be. I don't know. But that's certainly a concern. I do want to go to one thing, though, and I'll be quick on this. I've heard a lot of comparisons the last 24 hours to the loss in support when Houston Nutt flirted with Nebraska and LSU. I've heard a lot of comparisons to that. In my mind, I don't think it's a comparison because Muss has so much more cachet with our fan base right now than Houston did then. And I say that respectfully, but Houston had lost a good bit of his cachet with our fan base. I don't think Muss has. I think there are some people that are, they're not happy about this, but the first time we won a game, they'd be back on the bandwagon. Mm-hmm. Or the first time we lost, they'd say, well, his heart's not in it. That's what happened with Houston Nutt, and that's what would happen with Eric Musselman. But I do think, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. Please understand, I'm not saying this is going to happen. But if he were to decide to return, I think you shake hands, you forgive each other, and you march on. You've got a working contract, and you go on. That's what you do. Life goes on. But I say all that with the full realization, I mean, it's right in my face just like it is everybody else, that there's a possibility he may not be our coach.
Yeah. And then, you wonder about what goes on from there. Now, I don't have a list of names or people that should be candidates, but I will say this: Arkansas has the money to get a good basketball coach. They're paying Eric Musselman over $4 million. He's the 12th highest paid coach in the country. You don't have to move the beans around at all to get you a good candidate, at least from a financial standpoint. If that's a huge part of the presentation, that won't be a problem. But with all that still being said, it's going to be difficult to hire a coach better than Eric Musselman, at least from an X's and O's and being a mechanic of the game, a tactician of the game. He's about as good a coach as you've had since Nolan Richardson, obviously, and we've put him in the top 3 pretty quickly all time in this program. We need to understand that the next coach, in all likelihood, may not be on the same level as Eric Musselman when it comes to a lot of those categories.
I think one thing people need to think about in all of this is that sometimes things happen and there's no one to blame.
Oh.
What I've heard the last 24 hours.
My wife always finds someone to blame.
Sometimes things happen like this, And it doesn't mean he hates you. It doesn't mean he doesn't like Arkansas. It doesn't mean that he doesn't appreciate everything that's happened. These guys are nomads. I mean, we fall into the trap sometimes of thinking these head coaches in these major sports are everyday people. In some respects, they are. But consider, Eric Musselman's had 15 jobs in 9 states. I don't know many people who've had 15 jobs in 9 states. That's what the nomads do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the people that wander the countryside do.
He sounds like a radio man.
Well, yeah, he's been up and down the dial. So, you know, I think sometimes
he's got his punch card with U-Haul.
we equate sometimes how long a coach stays with how he feels about us. You know, we take it personally when they just up and leave. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when Eddie Sutton left. I mean, it was like the day the music died. And then the next day when he crawled to Lexington or said he would, we all got mad. And we held it against him. And I understand all of that. And there's just a wide range of emotions right now. But I do think you have to remember these coaches are looking for the next thing to conquer. They're not looking for a place to retire, generally speaking. They're looking for the next thing to conquer. And my sense in this case is that's part of this part of this equation. Not all of it, part of it.
Well, think about his upbringing and what he was. What did his dad do? He was an NBA coach. I don't know Bill Musselman's resume by heart, but I imagine there were a few jobs in different states along the raising of Eric Musselman. So the only life he probably knows is a little bit nomadic.
That's true. And as we say all of these things, and I said this to myself before I came on this morning, don't go down the road as though it's already happened. Wait until it's happened. I say all of this, and you guys do too, with the full knowledge that as we sit here and speak, he's not the head coach of any other team other than the Arkansas Razorbacks. So
it's going to be a PR challenge, though, to put it all back together.
Oh,
not saying it can't be done, but can you imagine?
I'm not disagreeing.
Can you imagine? Let's just use, I don't know.
And I'm not even saying that's going to happen.
Let's just use, I don't know, Ty as an example. Ty gets all upset and, he's flapping his arms in the conference room and raising hell with all the staff members. And he says, I'm going down to the Buzz in Little Rock for an interview. I'm out of here. And then he goes down there and they don't hire him.
Smart move.
Smart move on their behalf. How in the world do you come back in the building? I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen. Not saying you can't put it back together. But there's a lot of people, a lot of things to conquer. Here's
Muss has results on his side. We can all live in the moment and talk about 16 and 17.
Ty, there's your problem.
But well, no, I didn't mean you don't. I didn't mean you don't. That's not what I was suggesting. I'm just saying Muss has winning results on his side. And look, I hate talking about this because I don't think it serves anyone's purpose to turn this into, sides and blame and who did this and who said that. It doesn't serve anybody's purpose. Coaches have come here before and they've left here before, sometimes of their own accord, most of the time of somebody else's. And life's gone on. And, the idea that life won't go on if this happens, it will. It will.
Now, to me, it just feels, it's just an opinion, but I don't think this is a deep dive on analysis here, but it just feels like it's really personal based on the videos, based on the podcast, based on the radio silence from Musselman. It just feels like there's a lot of friction between him and Hunter. That may be right. That may be way, way off. For two guys that seem to have a wonderful working relationship when you're reaching the second weekend of the tournament, it has deteriorated fastly. At least that's the view from the outside looking in.
Here's the thing about relationships.
Tell us,
and as someone that's had many in the course of his life, relationships aren't tested until you have horrid and awful and junctures in the road which they just had this year. It's easy to have a happy wife, happy life when things are all merry. But then you have a miscarriage or you wreck a car or there's an injury or something. I'm just spun out random things. But Arkansas basketball had a horrendous season relative to what its standard was. And so what happens during the course of any athletics director and coaching relationship is it's very easy to portray, again, a tight bond on the outside when you're winning. But when you don't, again, that's when the rubber meets the road and you truly see if there's a relationship or not, and if two guys or a gal and a guy or whoever can stand each other. And from the outside looking in, like you're saying, when you had turbulence like you did this season, the relationship seemingly fractured or deteriorated, at least from our vantage point.
One thing that I do want to throw out here is when a coach and an athletic director have to fans what appears to be a good relationship, it doesn't mean they're going over to each other's houses for barbecues. That's not what it means at all. Every coach and athletic director that I've been around had a professional working relationship. Fans want them to love one another. And so when things are going well, you see a lot of stuff out there that makes you think they do. But it's always a professional relationship first. The coziness is generally reserved, the public coziness is reserved for the good times because that's what fans want. That's what fans want. And you give your people what they want. But the idea that a relationship was cozy and then fell apart or was not good and then became cozy, most of the time that's based on professional stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to, the hardest thing when you have to hold people accountable is you love them, you care about them, you want the best for their life, you want the best for their professional career. But it's hard to hold that fine line sometimes between friendship and a working relationship because exactly what you're talking about, when situations come up where accountability has to enter the relationship, it strains that personal relationship that we all perceive is there. And, it's pretty easy to supervise somebody when times are good. Accountability doesn't come into play much. You have a losing record, you miss the tournament, accountability comes into play, and that strains things.
I think it's important to note, too, that my observation has been that Hunter is very hands-off with his programs in terms of, he lets his coaches coach. He hires them to coach, lets them coach. And it's sometimes that way, and sometimes it's not in athletic departments. But my observation's been that he's been very hands-off.
We had a text on the McLarty Daniel hotline from Joe in Fort Smith a minute ago, says, this is about money. Joe, I respectfully disagree because I don't know that he's going to make decidedly more money. And even I would make the case equal money at USC is going to be a backward step for him personally. So I don't think this is about him seeking a pay raise or looking for a better financial situation somewhere else. I don't feel like that's the case at all, guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe Joe's right, but I don't think that's what is at the root of all of this.
No, it is not at the root of all this. When you don't have money, like us, it always seems like money's at the heart of everything.
Right.
When you have money, it's merely the way you keep score. It's merely the scoreboard because you got plenty of money. You don't need any more money to live a better life. There's nothing that Muss is going to do, any job he's going to take, that's going to make his life any better than it is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I can assure you that.
Well, I would say to be a step backwards in California just because of the
but you've still got plenty of money in the bank.
I get you.
You're not living year to year. You're still rich. And that's why I don't think it's about the money.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about the money. But money is how you keep score. And to some people, it is a matter of respect. And I think that's maybe more about what this is about than the actual dollars and cents.
Well, boys, we're down 10 with 3 minutes to go. We better get after it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think, and we mentioned the term home several times throughout the week. I know for me, you made a comparison there, potentially what I would do if offered for a place I lived for 18 years. I mean, that would make sense. And I know that he's been you mentioned his kind of nomad, I don't know if gypsy's the right word, but him traveling all over the place. But
I would say definitely not.
Probably not.
I think if he was to identify one state, not necessarily a city in Los Angeles, but he would say Cali's his home. I mean, he goes on not spring break trips. We've seen him go on trips there. He really enjoys going to baseball games and stuff. I don't know if it's the biggest factor in this, but I definitely think it has a role in the possibility, and I don't blame him for that. I don't blame him for that at all. Everyone has a special, quote unquote, relationship with their hometown, their home state. A lot of you have stayed or come back to Arkansas because of that. Arkansas is not his home state. I don't blame him that at all. I think that's a factor. It might not be the biggest factor, but it definitely is a factor in this.
Well, and it goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier. Sometimes things happen, and you try to affix blame, and there's really none to affix because circumstances just lead to that. And it's hard for someone in Arkansas, and I will admit this, it's hard for someone in Arkansas to view California as a safe haven. I mean, you think about it.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
But I think but when it's home, it's your safe haven. And so you're right. That may have something to do with it. Yeah. I don't know if it does. And look, I've heard everyone the last 24 hours sound as though, I mean, they're putting dirt on the grave right now, so to speak. And I hope we're not at that point. We may be. I acknowledge we may be. But, the last 24 hours or so, people have spoken like this is over. And again, that may be the case, but it's not happened yet.
Your safe haven's going to be at a school that is right near Watts in L.A., so that is kind of hard for us to wrap our mind around a little bit. So, you know what is our safe haven? Baum-Walker Stadium. Tonight, Arkansas and Ole Miss get after it. Looking at the Bet Saracen app here, boys. Arkansas is minus 350 on the money line going into tonight. So if you want to look for that, Bet Saracen's always got different bets, different options on there that you might not find on any other app you have on your phone or any other source where you might place action. NC State and Purdue still a 9.5-point line with Purdue favored there, and 11.5 still the line with UConn favored over Alabama. If you don't have the Bet Saracen app, get it on your phone, download it to your tablet or computer, and get ready for one of the bigger sports weekends of the year, the Final Four. Arkansas baseball, Masters coming up. It's all there for you at Bet Saracen. Go online for details at betsaracen.com.
Tommy just mentioned Bob Walker. We'll talk about what's happening there tonight and this weekend, plus some stuff from Bobby Petrino coming up.
The Powerball jackpot from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is now more than one.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
The tournament is here. BetOnline is your bracket headquarters for this season with the best bracket contests out there and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round right up to the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile device and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today and get in on all the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insights and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
The tournament is here. BetOnline is your bracket headquarters for this season with the best bracket contests out there and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round right up to the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile device and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today and get in on all the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insights and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This.
Hey.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
It is hour number 2 of the Morning Rush on a Too Stupid Thursday. Normally, when the number 1 baseball team in the country is back in action at a place that you have not lost or won 18 consecutive games, that's a big topic of discussion. As is when a former head coach, who is now the offensive coordinator, recently hired, talked this week, and you hadn't heard him for quite some time, and what he had to say about spring practice. That's another thing that usually gets uttered and said plenty on Sports Talk. But the only thing we've been texted really on the McLarty Daniel hotline, other than another Thursday through Saturday baseball series, that's the only thing people are frustrated with, is in regards to what's going to happen with Eric Musselman. We'll jump back in that. I will try and weave some Petrino and baseball stuff, but based on the direction that we've received this morning, doesn't seem to be the big hot button topic when it comes to you guys listening.
All right, so we'll continue down that path. Hey, we were fortunate enough to spend some time with our man Wade over at Arts Barbecue yesterday, and look at their menu right now. We talk about their burgers all the time, but they got some outstanding barbecues, we well know. But also, if you slide over to the side of their menu, they got what they call their Slammin' Sammys. I can just tell you, I hadn't had a lot of these, but their club sandwich is unbelievable, and the brisket melt. They've added several new things: the catfish po' boy, the dirty bird, which is their hand-breaded chicken breast topped with pickles and kicking sauce on the bun. So if you like a good fried chicken sandwich, it's one of the national chains, you're going to love this one. So they got the yard bird, and that's the grilled or blackened chicken, turkey melt. Now, I want to tell you that club sandwich, their clubhouse, it's the triple-decker like you would think with a club, but they smoke the ham, they smoke the turkey, they do their own bacon in-house, so things that go on that sandwich are just better than anywhere else you're going to have. And I can just tell you, if you can eat that whole sandwich in one sitting, you're a better man than me, because I've never been able to complete their club sandwich at any time. And you get a side with it, all for about $12.99 on most of their sandwiches. So check that out. It's at Arts Barbecue. You can call ahead. They'll have one ready at their pickup window, 452-2550 in Fort Smith, or stop by and see them next to Buddy's on Rogers Avenue in the Fort.
Here's one of the questions I have in regards to Eric Musselman and really this basketball program. So it is accurate to say that he is still the head coach of the University of Arkansas, head basketball coach. And we can talk about bygones being bygones. But with the new age of not just college basketball, but college sports, the issue I think that he and Hunter Yurachek will find themselves in if he comes back is that there will not be a big push initiative-wise on the NIL side of things from this fan base, whether big donors or small donors, from the outside looking in perception that he does not have 100% investment here. Because if you invest your money, first off, most of you don't agree with NIL to begin with, but if you're going to get your money plucked away, you want to give it to someone or a team or a program that you know is giving 110%, and then every ounce, every fiber, every juice of their body wants to be in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I think that's going to be a hard sell if he comes back to this campus. And I say comes back, he might be back on campus, but if he is still the head coach this next year, that is a tough sell. Am I wrong? Tell me why I'm wrong.
I think, Ty, I'm not looking to argue with you about it, but I'm going to say that I think that there will be a percentage of our fans that will be, as I said in the last half hour, there will be a percentage of our fans that will hold it against anyone, would hold it against anybody. But I think Muss, if he were to decide that he wants to remain the coach here, and if they were to go on, I think he's got much more cachet among our fans than any coach we've found in this position before. And I don't think that can be underestimated. Look, people just want to win. Fans just want to win. They'll excuse everything when you win, and they'll overlook nothing when you don't. That's how it works. And so the idea that if Musk were to come back and Arkansas were to have a great year, that in the middle of March someone's going to go, yeah, but I'm still mad at him over what happened last year.
Good point, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But in a relationship such as a coach with a university, a coach with a fan base, coach with an AD perhaps, you only get one of these. As we were talking about with Houston Nutt earlier in the flirtations with Nebraska and LSU, you really only get one of these in most cases. So you have to probably put a couple trophies in the case to get another poker chip in that corner. So I'll just use a phrase my bosses have used with me here for years. He's your guy till he's no longer your guy. And as of this morning, he's still your guy.
Well, Brent's our guy in Searcy. He's called in via the McLarty Daniel hotline. What's up, Brent?
Hello.
Hello,
Are y'all
Brent.
there?
Yeah, man.
We are, Brent.
I got one thing to say. If Muss leaves, I'm still going to be a Hog fan. I'm Hog through and through. Let's just break right down to the chase. Muss needs his ego stroked 24/7, 365. That's just a fact. Okay? And if I ever hear of our athletic director getting on another podcast that's not Razorback centric and puts out a video without the coach's knowledge, I think Hunter's got to go. I'm just telling you.
Well, Brent, appreciate the. Oh, go ahead. You're finishing.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Brent, appreciate the call. Yeah, I know there's a lot of pushback to what Hunter did, the way he went about going on that no-name podcast down in California. Would have much rather been on some media here. Tommy, you brought up a valid point. If he would have been
That was all calculated.
I go back and forth on that, to be honest.
That's fine.
Because it was calculated. You could have gotten the message out a lot cleaner and a lot quicker here in the state on one of the many media.
Seemed to happen pretty quickly.
Well,
it seemed to happen pretty quickly. The
you think
power
that-
of social media makes everything
Exactly.
immediate, and it makes location irrelevant.
Right. And you think it was by accident we all just stumbled across it? You think, I mean, how many times did you watch the One Star podcast until the other day? Or pulled a clip from it? The answer is never.
never.
The answer is never. Thank you. You think it was by accident that the Arkansas media just discovered this?
I don't know if I'm going to give him that much credit for what you're doing.
Okay.
Maybe that's his opinion. But I do
It
think
was not happenstance.
Exactly.
It was not
That's my point.
happenstance.
That's my point. Maybe it didn't play out exactly the way you had it here, but all that goes to my thought, just my opinion, tells you how personal this was. Because I do agree the way it was handled. I agree with Brent to a degree that the way it was handled was, we'll just call it unconventional at that. All right, your Morning Rush Daily question is on the way. We're brought to you by the Fence Man. If you need a fence that involves powered automatic gates, or you've got some kind of custom setup there, you got a hillside, a slope, a wider opening, narrower opening than maybe is standard, call the Fence Man. They do custom work all the time. They build powered automatic gates out of custom wrought iron and many other setups. They can do solar. They can do electric. They can do a lot of different things. They even do powered gates with wood privacy fences in some cases. 782-3936, the Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Join the local conversation on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Call or text 877-377-6963.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
This is the Morning Rush.
Say goodbye! The first thing people notice when they drive up to your home or walk in any room of your house is the color. And if you're looking for the perfect color and the perfect paint, you'll find it at the Paint Store in Van Buren. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. The Paint Store in Van Buren gives you hometown service from people who know what they're talking about. You don't have to chase them down to get help at the Paint Store. They're always there to help you get that perfect color and that perfect match for your project. If you're looking for the perfect paint color, it's at the Paint Store, 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Hey, Ty Richardson for A Cut Above Lawn and Landscaping. They service commercial and residential lawns for weed management and fertilization for a lush, healthy lawn. Need bush hogging? They do that too. A Cut Above also offers tree and limb removal. Don't forget hauling and dumpster rental as well. More than just a mowing service, they're A Cut Above. Call or text today at 479-719-5605. Lawn, landscaping, power washing, stump grinding, leaf removal, mulching, flea tick, and mosquito control. 719-5605.
Are you ready to indulge in an unforgettable fine dining experience? Then come join us at Uncorked, where every meal is a masterpiece, crafted with the finest ingredients to tantalize your taste buds. And with our extensive selection of cocktails, wine, craft beer, and bourbons, we've got something for everyone. So why not take a break from the ordinary and join us on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodi's? Come savor the moment with us at Uncorked, where every visit is a celebration.
The Steel Horse Rally is coming to town May 3rd and 4th. Get ready for it with Wheeler Power Sports in Fort Smith. Need a new or pre-owned motorcycle to show off on Garrison Avenue at the rally? Need to get new tires or repairs done so you can join the poker run or parade? Need new riding gear? We've been serving the motorcycle community in the Fort Smith area for 57 years and are the 9th oldest Kawasaki dealer in the nation. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
Patriot Transport wants to thank their drivers for their hard work and dedication. The local and over-the-road drivers are essential to the Patriot Transport mission. Day in and day out, Patriot Transport drivers are on the road striving for safety and success. To the behind-the-scenes dispatch and office employees, Patriot Transport thanks them as well for the hard work they put in day and night. If you want to be a part of the Patriot Transport family, visit patriottransport.com. Patriot Transport is located in Danville, Arkansas.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything: service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbors since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSAuto.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. It's time for the Red River Dodge Morning Rush Daily Question. Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess. I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
All right, so it'll be a basketball question this morning. Would you still welcome Muss back as the head coach of Arkansas for what has all seemingly happened? Now, I'd be curious to hear his vantage point, his perspective, and honestly, I'd want to see him and Hunter sitting next to each other talking about this. I don't know if we're ever going to get that. But would you still welcome him back as the head basketball coach of the University of Arkansas if he came back? My answer would be wait and see, because it's not just about recruiting. Arkansas had a good transfer portal haul, y'all. They did this past calendar cycle from the outside, from the offseason. It was highly decorated. It was top 5. It was liked by a lot of college basketball analysts out there. And then it didn't pan out. So, yes, you want to start winning in the portal. There is truth to that. But the welcoming part that you're thinking about is delayed. It's not initial. It's not, hey, I think this immediately. Because your opinion's going to change. You might not like it at first, but if he goes back to another Sweet 16 Elite 8, you're going to say you welcomed him back with open arms. So for me, it would be delayed, and for me, I wouldn't have really a good answer till March.
Yeah. Can you name me 5 better coaches in the SEC than Muss?
Pearl, Cal.
My point.
Oates.
Okay, you're making my point that
Barnes.
He's a top
5,
top half. He's a fringe top 5 coach in this league. I absolutely would welcome him back. We'll figure it out. We'll smooth it over. You know, a little bit of friction, a little bit of abrasion in relationships doesn't, controversy. We all should be used to drama and controversy in today's world. That's all any TV show centers around anymore. It's what social media is all about. So would I welcome him back? Yes. And the main reason's what I just said. I believe this guy's somewhere hanging around the top 5 in this league as a coach. Now, Arkansas's got plenty of money. They're paying him a lot of money now. I don't think Arkansas's handcuffed in any way to go get another great coach, but you got one now. The rub, it has come over to the fan side a little bit, and that's got to get figured out. But that's a PR question. Would I welcome him back? Absolutely, because guys, I think he's a really good basketball coach.
JT and Hotspur, Andy in Mountain Home says, I would not welcome him back. Jay in Cave Spring says no. Bye, Felicia. Winning cures all. Mason says that Cal is not a better coach than Muss. Gordon in Charleston says, heck no. And again, we
all feel jilted a little bit right now.
Again, you're allowed to delay your opinion or delay your thoughts on something, like I just said,
or
because
change your mind.
For me, it would be skewed negative. You heard in the open me say, I don't know how he comes back from this. I don't know how they're going to spin it if he comes back. But again, if we're sitting here next March and there is a possibility that this team is going to make their first Final Four since 1995, or they're going on a second weekend run, then I'm going to be happy as a clam he's back. And you will be too. But initially, your opinion's probably going to be different than maybe it would be in March. All right, that is your Morning Rush Daily Question, brought to you by our friends at Red River Dodge in Heber Springs.
Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com. Guys, I was just thinking as we were talking there, when Muss, because once the job is accepted, you get a little more detail about what happened in the immediate hours of contact and an offer and those things. Let's go back to when he was at Nevada and Hunter Yurachek made contact. Remember one of the things Muss said he did first? He went and watched film. He wanted to see who the players on the roster were. He said he got a roster to see the players. What's that about? Well, that's about, hey, am I going to step into a situation where I can win right away? Is it possible we're not hearing from Muss? And guess what? For Nevada people, he went radio silence. I think he put a tweet out or something of him practicing with Nevada to kind of throw everybody off. Then he said he went on a long 7-mile run. I just wonder, is he kind of working through the same mental process? He's looking at USC. Who's on that roster? Who's leaving? Portal's a bigger deal now than it was then as far as how much players come and go. But I can promise you he's not going to step into a situation at USC where it's a 2 or 3 year deal to rebuild that roster, or he can't get players to come.
Oh, I'm sure you're right about that.
I can he'll come back to Arkansas and figure it out before he'll go out there and lose for 2 or 3 years. So is he working right now to figure out what kind of roster he can have at USC, who will commit to Muss, wherever Muss is at. I mean, because I believe that's a huge part of his calculus is who he can get to play for him where. Because that's exactly what he did before he came to Arkansas. He figured out who the players were, what he would have here, and to a degree who he could get to come to Arkansas with him. I don't think for 1 second he's not going through the same process mentally or actually going through the steps of making phone calls before he would accept a job at USC. Am I crazy in what I'm thinking? Because he's going to put himself in the spot to win more than anything.
Well, I think all those things factor into it. If that is the decision that he's making, and I keep qualifying all this with an if, because I've seen wild speculation become assumed fact before when it's really not, and I'm not sure that there's not a certain amount of that at play right here. So I'm not entirely sure in that regard, but I think it's a fair question. I think it's an honest reaction to what's going on right now. I don't know if this is what's occurring here or not. I do know that, generally speaking, the situations that I've been around when it seemed a head coach's departure was imminent. How many people are recruiting? How many people are working on things other than trying to get another job? I don't know what's going on here, and I don't want to pretend that I do in that regard.
Yeah. Here's my question: who's he working for today? And I don't mean whose payroll is he on. We know he's on Arkansas's payroll, but that doesn't always mean that's who you're working for. Is he working to see what roster he can assemble for Southern Cal, for Team Muss? As I said, who in his mind, where is his mental efforts being placed today? Only one person can answer that question, but that's what I wonder this morning here at 22 after 7 o'clock.
Well, I think you're probably not the only one.
Yeah.
Would be my guess on that.
Yeah. What's his mental energy spent on right now?
That's a good question.
Where the hell is he right now? Is he in Arkansas? Is he in California? I wonder. These are the things that are just crossing my mind.
Radio silence.
Yeah. Where's he at?
Radio silence. All right, let's talk to Tom Murphy, who won't give us some silence. He'll give us some feedback as he joins us via the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Tom, I know you've been busy with football. I know this baseball team is back in action tonight, number one team in the country. I get those are big things, but Must still the talking point. What's your thoughts on maybe what's played out in the last 48 hours or so?
Well, I did enjoy hearing what Tommy and Chuck were just talking about. I think it's probably a limbo situation. He's probably heard or is hearing the best of the pitch, and he's in a good situation. I mean, he's making a great salary, top 12 in the country. He's well loved by a fan base, and he's had success here. I think, as Tommy mentioned, the calculus is what will his roster look like at USC? How much NIL money would he have to deal with? And if it was me, and he may be different, but is the cost of living differential in LA and the quality of life different? You know, what's the calculus there? So a lot going on, and why would he have to be in a rush? I mean, we want the answer. We're fans and we're media, and we want to know what his answer is going to be, but he doesn't have to be in a super huge rush. Now, if he goes, Hunter Yurachek will be in quick mode on having a replacement, and who knows if that step has started to take place or if agents have been contacted and so on. I would hazard a guess that it has.
Yeah.
Do you think that Arkansas fans trust the decisions that Hunter Yurachek is going to have to make if it plays out and he goes to USC? Do you think they'll be fully backing who Hunter Yurachek selects as the next basketball coach?
Well, Hunter Yurachek has done well in the profession. He's well regarded. He's on great committees. Why wouldn't they? I mean, to me, he's done a fabulous job at Arkansas, and there's no reason not to trust who he would talk to, who he would hire.
Yeah. Tom, everyone's got an opinion on this. What's this all about? What is at the root of what appears to be a rub between Hunter Yurachek and Eric Musselman? What's your thought on it?
Well, I don't know specifically, but the NIL probably is a thing that there's been some frustration. I mean, Sam Pittman has done a good job at not, outright, being negative about it. But, toward the end of last year, with the losing piling up, you could sense there was some frustration, and, that they were going to make this move to, make another effort to get a bigger NIL part of the pie. And so I wouldn't doubt that many coaches on campus, especially in the highest profile ones that need the most resources in terms of attracting players, that's been a point of discussion. And so there's a lot that figures into this lifestyle, where his family's comfortable, a chance to build a roster to go to a Final Four. But because I think we all do know and agree on that having success and being a winning coach and what it's like to, the thrill of victory is a big deal for Eric Musselman.
I think it's the only deal for Eric Musselman. And am I wrong? It just, the way Hunter, framed everything on that podcast, the video that came out on the bus, maybe I'm overreading this thing, but I think a lot of people feel like this is really personal between Muss and Hunter at this point, just the way some of this is played out on social media.
Well, I don't know, but I do know this. Hunter's had that the sense of humor. I mean, he's not super uptight. He understands it's a big business, but I think he's pretty grounded in, reality and grounded in having fun in life. And so he did the Pope with the white smoke, and he did this, and maybe it was just a message to Eric Musselman. Look, man, you're very, very well paid. If you're going to make a move, it's time to just go ahead and make it. We need an answer here too.
Yeah.
And so some would argue probably that maybe it was a bad move. I don't know, but I think it falls in line with Hunter Yurachek's personality.
Should Musselman tweet, speak, communicate? He's been, Ty said earlier, the old cliche, the silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Is it time for him to at least, raise your hand and let us know you're alive, man?
Well, he's not feeling that like the way people who are watching this, the fans are watching this. This is a big life decision. I think the quality of life in Northwest Arkansas is fantastic. I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in a lot of places in the South, the Deep South, the Mid South, and so on. And I don't think I would trade it, in terms of bang for your buck and all that. But he's from California, so he's not obligated, I don't think, to really say anything. It's only been a few days, basically, since the USC job came open. And so I think that within the next day or so, we'll probably have an answer, at least on that front.
So, Tom, I mentioned baseball team back in action tonight as we're talking to you via the McLarty Daniel hotline. This team has not overlooked some of the inferior opponents this year, which is kind of a difference from last year's team. McLaughlin and Dave Van Horn were talking about that. Why do you think that they've maybe taken these games so seriously relative to what they did last year?
Well, I just think, bottom line, they're reflective of their coach's personality. Respect every opponent. Go out there and do your job. Don't even look at what the jersey says on the other side, and just play your best. And McLaughlin, Diggs, and Aloy have played in every game. They played all the midweeks. They've gotten outstanding pitching performances, and I think that's probably the biggest factor is that they're so deep at pitching that guys like Bobby and Fisher and some others, and Cody Frank has pitched in midweeks. I think Will McIntyre has. That they're kind of overpowering teams with their arm. And so, you got Florida. They're doing okay in the polls and so on, but they've been losing a lot of midweeks. Now they have been playing Florida States and things like that. But anyway, it's phenomenal the role that they're on, and I don't think it's going to change. That they do have some interesting midweeks coming up with the San Jose State, and then there's another 2-game set coming up that is going to give them 2, 4, 7 games in a pretty tight stretch of days where their pitching will be even further tested.
Speaking of interesting, we got a chance to hear from Bobby Petrino earlier this week, which our audience is always intrigued by, and he was joking with you, I think, about his demeanor, which I got a chuckle out of. But what stood out to me in his comments is he's like, Talen's the one, it's a battle for the two. Would you say that's probably the biggest statement he made on Tuesday?
I would say so. It's a little more definitive than what Sam Pittman has said. Like, we're not going to declare the one. Well, they haven't declared it, but what we see out on the field is declarative enough, right? And, I mean, he said he's earned it from day one. His mat drills, his leadership, his getting the iPad out and studying stuff all the time, wanting to get better, looking at Ryan Mallett tape and figuring out, like, here's something about his delivery, over the top. All the technique points that Bobby Petrino is so wonderful at passing along to his proteges. So, I think that was a declarative thing, and he just seemed pretty comfortable. He smiled a few times, and it wasn't me. It was someone else who asked him that, has your mood, personality changed from when head coach to now? And in my opinion, he might be still as intense in meetings and, with the players, but it's a little bit more under the breath. Certainly there were days when he was the head coach where you could hear him across the field, and now it's a little more subdued. And he had fun with it and just said, hey, I've always been a laid-back guy. So it shows that at least he's not so uptight that he can't have a little bit of humor with that.
All right, let's circle back to the topic of the day. What's your opinion over the next, say, 12 to 36 hours? What unfolds before Sunset Friday regarding the basketball program and its head coach?
I'm not going to make an opinion. I've read all the stuff that's out there. Well, maybe not everything, but a lot of it. And a lot of people think that he's just a little restless and he's ready to make that move. I couldn't imagine that he flies to California and is the first known interview, and that he's not maybe their target. And so he's going to get their best pitch. They want him, it sounds like. And so he's going to have to tell them no. So what is that up against? Is Arkansas's NIL competitive or maybe better than USC's? Does he see a chance to win here quicker? He's already won here. So it's hard for me to say, but the sense is like that he's ready to make a move, but that's not anything other than what I'm seeing out there.
All right, keep the phone charged. It's going to be a busy few days. Tom, we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Sounds good. See y'all.
Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat, is at Whole Hog Sports with us here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Chuck, I want to go back to what we were talking about before Tom joined us. I think it's all about winning. It's always about winning. We talk about money, time, contract, lifestyle, where you live. At the end of the day, priority one in the assessment of any opportunity for Eric Musselman, I believe, begins and ends with, can I win there? Can I be successful? I just wonder, is his mind on roster construction and where he can put the best roster together at, whether it's USC or Arkansas or somewhere else right now?
Well, the one thing Tom said that was right on the money is that the thrill of victory is what motivates him most. That's the high.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the the dopamine rush, whatever you want to whatever term you want to use. Mm-hmm. That's what he's about. I'm in full agreement with that. And beyond that, I'm kind of like Tom. It's I've read and heard and I've seen so many times before, as I alluded to earlier, where a wild rumor becomes accepted fact. You hear something so many times, you believe it's true. And I don't know that everything that we're hearing right now is exactly on – in fact, I'm sure everything we're hearing right now is not exactly on the money. That doesn't mean there's not going to be the inevitability that certain people think there's going to be. But, it's I've heard a lot of people declare over the last 24 hours, it's done, it's over, he's gone. And none of us really know, to be perfectly honest about it. Hey, let me pause just for a second and talk to you about Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company. If you are buying or selling a home, I'm like the rest of you. I read the news reports every day about the housing market, interest rates, and how it all ties together and how it affects home prices and buying and things of that nature. If I were buying or selling a home right now, I'd want someone that understood all that can make sense of all of that for me. And that's what Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, I'm certain can do for you. And I say that based on my experience with them as a buyer and a seller. There's a lot to consider, certainly right now. And you want someone on your side of the table who does this every day. It's not a side gig. They're well-versed in everything that's happening right now, and they can advise you in that fashion. And that's what you need, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Now, that was my experience. My first time as a home buyer was about 15 years ago when the housing market was going nuts. And I needed someone to help guide me through that, and they were there every step of the way. And I think that'll be your experience too. Now, they've got offices in Northwest Arkansas. They're in Fayetteville, and they're in Springdale, and they're in Bentonville. You hear us talking about their office in Fort Smith, and they're in Branson too, and you can always log on to WeicherGriffin.com.
Back to the McLarty Daniel hotline where Ben in Fayetteville is. Ben, welcome in here on this Too Stupid Thursday.
Hey, good morning, Ty, Tommy, and Chuck. Tommy, I heard you say something a few minutes ago saying that Musselman was a top 5 coach in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And I know that's an emotional thing, and I think you have to quit saying that. 2 seasons ago you could. This season you can't say that. Facts over feelings. I mean, he wasn't a top 5 coach this year. His record in the SEC this year is not top 5. There were 6 other coaches, SEC coaches, that made the NCAA tournament, and 3 other coaches made the NIT tournament. It's what have you done for me lately, which is, I'm sure, what you think about Ty on most mornings. But it's what have you done for me lately?
Well,
2 seasons ago, he was top 5. He's not a top 5 coach anymore. It's facts over feelings. Get that out of your mouth. What has he done lately?
Hold on, Ben, before you go. So in 2021, all right, he's going to leave. In 2021, based on your assessment insertion, when Bruce Pearl and John Calipari didn't make the NCAA tournament, were they not top 5 coaches in the league? Guys, they had a bad year.
Yeah.
Okay? He's a top 5 coach. Now, he's not 1 or 2, not 3. He's at 4 or 5. But he is a top 5 coach in this league. They had an off year. It's not.
You got to take a broader view than one season.
Not that
would be my response.
Let's not get sidetracked too much here. I mean, we've changed the debate from, we've changed the conversation from what's going on with Musty. Is he a top 5 coach in the SEC?
And that's not that's exactly right, Chuck. My comment was made in the fact that, because the question was, would you welcome him back? Well, of course, if it worked out, that's between him and Hunter to figure out. As a fan, as someone who enjoys watching basketball at Arkansas and enjoys winning, he's a coach that can get it done, and I base that on the results he has given you. I believe based on the results, he is a top 5 coach, and you got to take a broader view than just one season. And your point about coaches that have missed the tournament before doesn't mean you went to sleep one night and forgot how to coach the game of basketball. Hey, real quick, Gaston's White River Resort is the place, maybe when you need to make a big decision about your future. Maybe you're trying to contemplate what to do next in your own life. Hey, sometimes just getting away to a place like Gaston's can give you the peace and the serenity and the relaxation to get your mind where it needs to be. That's always been my thought when I go to Gaston's. It seems like you can leave your troubles behind. You can leave all the stress behind. And something about that flowing water through the White River that you can look at, you can actually feel the temperature that's cooler coming off that water, and you can hear it passing by. Gives me a little bit of peace, and I think it will give you a little peace and relaxation as well. That all sounds good. Call 870-431-5202. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time, every time.
Hey, everybody, this is Joe Tessitore from ABC and ESPN, and you are listening to...
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust.
You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
The tournament is here. BetOnline is your bracket headquarters for this season with the best bracket contests out there and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round right up to the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile device and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today and get in on all the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insights and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line podcast network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all
Service your home for one of their local pros. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
All right, let's get into our hog update this morning. Arkansas baseball back in action tonight. Baum-Walker Stadium against Ole Miss. Here's what Dave, pretty short and sweet, had to say about the Rebels.
They have good players. It can turn around real quick.
I know Ole Miss on paper is not the best team you played all season long, but it's an SEC team. The Razorbacks are off to a crazy start thus far this season. The only time they've started this strong is actually when Dave played back in 1982. He doesn't really remember it that much, though.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't remember 1982 a whole lot. Not that season. I remember in 82, though, I do remember like over spring break, we played like 2 games a day for like 5 days straight, 6 days. Teams from all around the area would come in. Some were non-Division I, I think, and we'd probably play 2 7-inning games. We just played a lot of games, and we must have won them all.
They won a lot of them. And they had 2 ties back in the day. Dave said because of the light situation. That's why they had those. But
they win the national title in 82?
They did not.
They did not. So that's the only thing I really could comment or care about, honestly. We have the greatest start in the history of the sport. They can go 50-0 to get to the College World Series. To me, I don't know if I'm on this island alone. I don't think I am. I don't really care what the record is now or then. Only thing I care about is that last game and does it result in a national title. And that's not pressure I'm putting on them. I've just seen great starts. I've seen great regular seasons. I've seen SEC tournament titles all not result in winning in Omaha. I want to be the Ole Miss or Mississippi State, have an okay regular season, and then catch fire and win it all. I don't care how it happens, but that's the only thing that matters to me at this point.
You know, yeah, certainly a winning streak's great, and it's hopefully a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
You're not going to play what's termed, I guess, hot baseball, for 4 straight months, but this team's got a lot of talent, and they can overcome a lot of things that perhaps normal teams can't. I will say that about them. But clearly everything, as it is in basketball with March, everything is geared toward that tournament in June, and that's what people remember.
Trying to get that win streak to 19, and like you said, add to it as they hopefully are on their way to the national championship at the end of June. Arkansas football's got a long way out till they play their first game on August the 31st against UAPB. Kind of sounds like, though, the QB1's locked up. Here's Bobby Petrino.
Talon has kind of been the guy that works with the ones. He's earned that himself from the minute he got here to how he's conducted his business, how he leads, how he studies, how hard he goes, and all the mat drills that we did. He's the first guy winning on the races, so he's done a nice job on that. I think there's a good competition for who's going to be number 2, and I'm really not sure who that is right now. Malachi, Jacoby, and KJ, the youngster, have all had their bright spots and then made mistakes and had some spots that aren't what we want. I think it's been hard on Jacoby as far as, the third new offense and how he's got to get there. Not necessarily mentally, but the drops and the things that we do different are different to him. So he's got to catch his feet up. He's got a great arm, and he's working hard at it, and I love his attitude. I just think he needs to catch up with our techniques and the timing, because everything for us is timing.
As Taylor Green's going to be your starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just told you that.
We've known that for a while. It was finally spoon-fed to the media, so they act like it's a new story. I mean, if you've watched and can add 2 and 2, you've known he was number 1.
I mean, he just said the battle's for number 2. So, I mean, he just said it. I don't think he said it without saying it. He just said it. I think he just drew it out in crayon for everyone.
Well, I mean, it's like Tom said a little bit earlier. I mean, sometimes what you watch is declarative. I mean, you don't need somebody to say it to you. Of course, he's the number 1 quarterback. He has been for a long time.
Just watch. Just look. Just watch the plays in the scrimmage. You'll see why he's number 1.
Well, all right. Other things for you here in your hog update. Keith Smart has been named a candidate for the Fresno State job, according to ABC 30, potentially going out west and taking that head coaching position. Just something to think about in this in the middle of this mess or whatever you want to call it. You wonder about the assistant. I wondered if there would be coaching staff turnover to begin with, even before the speculation on the USC job. But that is one of the college basketball reports that are out there. I guess Michigan's been filled. Louisville's been filled. Florida Atlantic's been. I was just trying to go over the list of jobs that have
SMU,
currently
obviously.
been. SMU's been filled.
That created USC's opening.
Mhm. Yeah, so the coaching turnover often leads to, or not often, leads to other hires, and this is.
I'll say this: if the Arkansas job comes open, as it appears right now, it will be the best job available out there.
Of anyone,
I agree with that.
Of anyone that have come open, is what you're saying?
Well, you just went over this. I don't think there's going to be a better job come open. Is my point.
Oh, after the fact, I just don't know. Like on that line of thinking. Now I'm going to get some pushback on this because we're doing a radio show in Arkansas. Tradition, pageantry, fan base, arena, all that is all well and good, but the game has changed. The only thing the number one thing is your NIL bank fund. And if Michigan has a better one, if Louisville has a better one, if these other jobs, if USC and the others have better, then it's not a better, or then they're all better jobs than Arkansas.
Are the 4 biggest NIL funds all going to be playing this weekend in Phoenix?
Let's see. Bama, I would say, has a pretty big one. I would say that UConn is pretty substantial. Why am I blanking on the other two? North Carolina State.
The team we're pulling for, though, North Carolina State, is not NIL flush compared to the others. I'm pretty certain of that. Look, when we start talking about what is not in the NIL, I'm just going to be candid with you. We know just enough to be wrong, and I include all 3 of us in that. We don't know what's in that fund. Ty, respectfully, you have no idea what's in that fund.
And that's again.
And you don't know that other schools are better.
And that's why
there's the assumption that, well, Arkansas's NIL is terrible and everybody else's is good. I got news for you. Every athletic department in the country is scrambling for NIL money. It is not plentiful anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. Even Dave Van Horn, who I think Arkansas baseball has a pretty good NIL fund, was talking we could always use more. But again, what I was saying is that if they are larger than what Arkansas has, in my opinion, they are better jobs because of that fact. Now, your point is well made. We don't know.
It depends on what motivates you. If you are one who is, hey, we're gonna sell out, we're gonna spend a bunch of money on NIL, we're gonna win a championship. It's the most important thing. For other coaches, it may not be.
Bless you.
That's your
allergy season, guys.
I'm telling you.
And that is your
a sneeze mid-sentence is a broadcaster's nemesis.
That's where. Hey, thanks for helping me out with that dead air too. Come on, Todd.
I did. Sorry. Yeah.
Read the room,
Yeah,
man.
Not great. That's your hog
Bless
update.
you.
It's brought to you by our
thanks. Bless you.
Brought to you by our friends at Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-SPARKY.
I was trying. I didn't know if you're going to finish your point or if you're going to sneeze.
I was just trying to get to the end of the point before I sneezed is actually what I was trying to do, if you want to know the truth.
Well, third hour coming up. More of your calls and your texts. We'll read through those on the McLarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. There's 6 locations for McLarty Daniel. Find them in Springdale and in Bentonville. A good deal is never too far away. They're always online at McLartyDaniel.com.
We got a couple people on the hotline. We got 2 open lines. If you want to jump in with us in hour number 3, give your thoughts on the Eric Musselman saga, you can do so at 877-377-6963. All right, hour 3 is next on a Too Stupid Thursday.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by 2 of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
WT Equipment is your home for New Holland ag and construction equipment, sales, parts, and service for high horsepower row crop tractors and combines, utility tractors and hay equipment, compact track loaders, and mini excavators. WT Equipment has it all. Stop by one of their 8 locations to explore the value of New Holland tractors and see why New Holland hay equipment and twin rotor combines are second to none in harvesting ability. Need to upgrade your construction equipment fleet? Give WT Equipment a call. Come by a store or check out their website, WTEquip.com.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
This is the Morning Rush.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey & Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey & Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit kevinhickeylaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey & Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street at Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Hey, this is Ty Richardson for Jake Neal and his team at Jerry Neal's Barbecue. Jake's dad, Jerry, started cooking barbecue at Jerry Neal's in 1977, and Jake took over and has been doing the same thing ever since. I got ribs the last time I was there. Woo! Man, they were good. Don't forget about the catfish either. It's cooked to order, so it's hot and fresh every single time. The best catfish in the River Valley. Jerry Neal's Barbecue, Catfish, and Catering, 1823 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Spring is just around the corner, and Jelco Outdoors is ready with all of your spring fishing gear. Crappie, bass, catfish, Jelco has a great selection of rods, reels, and baits to help you fill that stringer. Spring turkey supplies are rolling in daily, and the firearms department is stocked up with ammo for outdoor shooting. Spring is almost here, so get outdoors and enjoy the spring season. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith, for all your outdoor gear. Think spring, think Jelco Outdoors.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, plenty of sunshine. Our high this afternoon, low to mid 60s. Tonight, mainly clear and overnight low, mid to upper 30s. Winding down the week with sunny skies on Friday. Our high upper 60s to low 70s. And then Saturday, sunny skies, low to mid 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Farm Credit. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com.
I don't understand why Razorback fans want to keep coaches that obviously don't want to be with the program.
It sounds like to me the situation is fractured.
Maybe Eric Musselman is a Larry Brown type coach. He wears on people and he just goes downhill.
Pretty straight and simple what's going on today. He's been offered the job and he's going out there to accept it. He won't be flying back.
Bad news, but I don't think that this is unexpected. California is where he's from.
I don't know how he comes back after all of this.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios. Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Christian Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Call or text The Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bensenville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
All right, welcome into hour number 3 of a Too Stupid Thursday. Heard some callers and texters there on the McLarty Daniel hotline giving their opinions about what's going on with Eric Musselman. We've got 2 more that we'll take. We got 2 open lines if you want to give your input on what's gone down, not just the last 24 hours, 48 hours, but this is something that's been built up. One way or another, something is going to transpire out of this. Either Eric Musselman is going to continue on as your head basketball coach, or he is going to be a coach elsewhere, most likely in Southern California. We'll continue to discuss in hour 3.
You want to figure out what's going on. There's a few places you can go, but generally, if you want to get to the bottom of a matter, you need a bar stool involved, right? But that's where decisions like this always, get resolved. And I can't.
That's where you figure it out.
That's where you figure it out. So I can only imagine the conversations the last couple of days and later on today at Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith. I may slide by this afternoon, get a little brown water, and just chime in on the conversation, because you hate to go through some of these things sometimes, but some of the fun of it is listening to everyone's thoughts and conversations. Uncorked will be a great place, whether it's at the bar with Maggie or maybe out on the patio out front where we've got some gorgeous afternoon patio weather. Uncorked is always a favorite destination, because whether it's you and your boys going or whether you got couples going, there's something for everyone. Comfortable environment, great wines. You won't find a bigger or better selection of wines, and rare, hard to find wines that you can try, even by less than the glass with their machines where you get the card and you can sample and try different ones. Good selection. I mentioned the brown waters, more beers on tap you're going to find anywhere. And, I know it's out of March, but we're still in March Madness. Final Fours this weekend. Baseball's tonight. They got the biggest screen that you're going to see anywhere right up over the bar. What they've taken is like 8 TVs, combined them together, and they can make one big picture up there when the Hogs are on or March Madness is rolling. So Uncorked's a favorite for that as well. They're on Phoenix Avenue, right next door to Sodi's in Fort Smith. It's at right near the corner of where Phoenix and 540, or it's really Lee Avenue and 540 come together. But you know the area, you know where I'm talking about. Go to uncorkthefort.com and make your reservations for this weekend, whether it's brunch or a date night out or just getting out with the guys to talk about what's going on with the Hogs.
Hey, let me throw this in before you go to the callers. Tommy was talking about, and it's true, when we have something like a coaching search going on, people enjoy talking about it. It spurs conversation. Here's the difference this time. We do love a good coaching search. I will freely acknowledge that. But the majority of the time it's because that coaching search occurs because a majority of the people in our state are ready for that coach to go. I don't believe the majority of people in our state are ready for this coach to go. I don't think this is one coaching search our fan base wants. Now, they'll talk about it, and people are already talking about it as though it's occurred already. But I don't believe, and I heard the cuts at the start of the hour, but I don't for a moment believe that the majority of our fan base is pulling for a divorce here.
All right,
I don't believe that for a second.
Well, let's go talk about it at this afternoon at Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by Mach 1 Financial. Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor located in Bentonville, Arkansas. For full disclosures, visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
Let's go to the home of the best watermelons, not just in the state, but in the country. Lane is in Cave City via the McLarty Daniel Hotline.
Right, you were right about that, Ty.
Hope people might disagree.
Hey, guys, how are y'all?
Good, man.
Hey, well, so here's my thoughts on this Musselman thing. They're probably totally wrong. But, so I changed jobs back in October. Now, the job I had previously, I'd had for 8 years. Loved the job, worked for great people. And I will state, I had no reason to leave, except that probably one of my dream job got offered to me, and so I took it. And I kind of look at this Musselman thing kind of the same way. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in sales in Cave City, Arkansas, not the head basketball coach for the University of Arkansas, so not as many people looking, but, you know, I look at it the same way. It don't necessarily mean that he's not happy with Arkansas and that he's not happy being here, but he's always wanted to be in Southern California, and so that's kind of like his dream spot to be able to coach and his family to be. So I don't know. That's kind of my thing. You know, fans are saying he's not happy here, so he should go. Well, just because he's interviewing out there, don't mean he's not happy here.
Yeah, but
Well,
Lane,
but
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair point.
But Lane, if everyone in your Sunday school class was saying, you know, he left his job because him and his boss were kind of at odds, and you know they weren't getting along, and things weren't right, and Lane was just really unhappy, you'd probably straighten that out with by setting the record straight, making us, telling everybody, no, that's not right. I love working there, but
unless there's a reason not to.
And that's the point I think a lot of us have pondered and wondered, where's Muss in all this? You know, Hunter's put out a couple of videos and spoke on a podcast. It's been zilch.
If he wanted
for Muss.
If he wanted to,
if this wasn't right, you'd think he'd say something.
If he 100% wanted to be here, he would have said so publicly. He hasn't. That doesn't mean he's
not necessarily. Not necessarily. You can want something 100% and not say so publicly.
But you don't have social media. And I know you want to be here. I know you want to be the voice of the Razorbacks, but you don't have to put that pen to paper per se. This is a guy that has had a track record on social media, and any chance he gets, put something on social media. That's the difference here with Eric Musselman, is that has been something he has utilized over the course of his career. And
I'm not disagreeing that it would be nice if he put something out on social media. As I said an hour and a half ago, the people that I feel worst about this for are our fans, because they've been left in limbo and they don't know what's going on. That's the part that I personally just feel worst about. But there are times, look, every coaching, when the coaching carousel gets going every year, there are lots of things that go on that we don't find out about because these guys aren't putting that stuff on social media. This is not the time. I mean, you don't social media when you're when you're at a stalemate. I'll just put it that way. At least from Muss's perspective, because as I said earlier, I still believe that he's got a welcoming fan base here if he decides he wants to remain the coach of the Razorbacks. It's a very welcoming fan base, and they'll still love him.
I know the callers that we took yesterday were more negative, and you're always going to see more negative stuff on social media. And I tend to think that you would welcome him following a postseason, or welcome him back following a postseason run. But I think when you combined what happened this season and the losing, and I know they ended stronger than they started in SEC play, and then you have such openness, flirting, at least from our vantage point, I don't think it's as strong as, let's say, like overwhelming majority. I really don't. I think that when you combine, now if they had a good season and he was flirting, I think we may be talking something different. But I think those two things, the losing, as bad as they looked, and then again the openness, at least from our vantage point, of the flirting, I don't think it's as cut and dry. I'm going to disagree with you there, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's 75%.
I didn't say, Ty, you used the word overwhelming. I said I think the majority of our fans would welcome him back. I feel pretty certain about that. Would it be 95%? I don't know. But I think the majority of people would be happy that he's still the coach of the Razorbacks.
Let's talk to Brian, who's in Ozark this morning on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Brian, what's up, man?
Hey, not much. What's going on? I just want to chime in real quick. Hey, just a couple of comments. Musselman never intended to stay at Arkansas very long, and that was very evident. He's a businessman. He goes from place to place to place. Second of all, good riddance. There's rumors out there, and I don't believe this is going to happen, but if Chris Beard came to Arkansas, he's 10 times a better coach than Musselman anyways, and he proved that last year when Arkansas had 4 NBA guys and Chris Beard's team, which, Chris Beard was fired at that point, but the team that he had stomped Arkansas by 30 points. That was a Chris Beard team. He also went, but he stomped Arkansas by 30. He also went into Ole Miss with a bunch of misfits that were leftovers and had a pretty daggum good year. Chris Beard is a much, much, much tons better coach than Musselman, and he would fit in at Arkansas and recruit 5 stars and would take Arkansas to levels that Musselman never did. I hope Chris Beard comes to Arkansas. Good riddance to Musselman. Thanks. Have a great day.
I've heard so many people say things over the last 24 hours. Those who are, on the air, off the air, callers, writers. Fans. I've heard so many people say things the last 24 hours that they never would have said last week. Mm-hmm. They never would have said last week. And it's because of, obviously, what's transpired over the last 4 or 5 days. And it bothers me, frankly, when I hear people trash a guy just because they assume he's out the door and he doesn't love them as much as maybe they hoped he would. I just, we've been a lot better off over the last 5 years in basketball than we've been in a while. And we don't need to just act like that didn't happen.
I want to be in. If Eric Musselman decides ultimately it's best for him and his family to move out west, I'm not going to get on air the next day and rip him a new one. Because it's like you just said, this program, for better or worse, has been better under Eric Musselman the last 5 years. You did not go for a Sweet 16 since 96. You had 20-something years where you didn't end up at Sweet 16. It took him a year and a half to bring this program to a Sweet 16 and then get to an Elite 8. And that Beard thing, by the way, you beat Chris Beard in the round of 32. Brian, you might have forgotten that when he was at Texas Tech. So if that's what he decides to do, that's fine. I'm not exactly just going to rip him a new one for that. All right, Miss Lisa's on line 3 here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline.
This ought to be good.
What's up, Miss Lisa?
Well, I'm going to try to be quick. Chuck, I respect you to no end, and I listen to every word you say. But you're wrong. I do believe about the majority of the fan base would welcome him back. Name me another coach that has been in a closet for a week, hadn't spoke as far as we know, and our AD's in the same position. We hadn't heard from him. We know he took a flight out there to USC. We don't know what's going on, and it's embarrassing to me. And as far as I'm concerned, and they won't care about me because I'm a peon. I won't buy another basketball ticket, nor will I give what I give to the basketball program if they retain Coach Musselman. I think it's awful behavior. I think it makes him look like the imp he may be, and I'm done with it. And I don't know why you would think that we would be jumping up and down for him to come back. We're not.
Well, I don't think
everybody I talk.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Everybody I talk to, and I'm in these clubs all over Northeast Arkansas drinking coffee and doing whatever we do, none of us want him back. And we're all embarrassed. And a lot of them, I haven't really moved to that side yet. They're upset with an AD that won't stand up and say, look, you know, if you leave here on a flight and without blah, 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 like Frank would have done, yes, I'm bringing up Frank when he told Houston if he stepped on the tarmac, he was fired. So Houston, as it turned out, did not step on the tarmac. But I'm sick of the whole thing, and they can count me out for basketball, and I'm sure they'll say, good riddance to me. But in Arkansas, we need every fan, even those that can't go to the game, to be on board with the program. And we don't have it right now. We've got a split. And I would say there's more people that want his skinny butt gone than they want it here, sitting on a pot in Fayetteville. Thank you for taking my call. Go Hogs. And hire Chris Beard. I don't care if he is a girlfriend beater. I'd rather have a girl.
Well,
Rough
I
landing
appreciate Miss Lisa's opinion. I really do. I know she's passionate about the Razorbacks, and I'm certain that everything she just said was from the heart. I'm certain of that.
All right, let's move
It's your
on.
show, Ty. Take it away.
Mike, I thought you were going to elaborate more.
Your name's first, man.
Mike and Siloam on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, I actually maybe think that the AD, the lady AD at USC, probably saw all the unhinged anger and venom and how he acted like a child courtside at Arkansas, how he would kick the scorer's table and act like a toddler. And I think she looked at it and like the way he yells and screams at people, he would be an easy target for the snake pit LA media.
Well, I'm not sure, just to be blunt, I'm not sure USC basketball right now registers with the LA media.
It's like 10th.
Yeah.
You got the Rams, the Dodgers. You've got the football program.
You mentioned the Lakers.
Lakers, maybe? Clippers. It's 10th at best.
Lakers are 1, right? Lakers are number 1.
Yes, even with the Rams moving back. All right, Pig Suey's on line 4. What's up, Pig Suey?
Hey, man, I never thought I'd say this, but Chuck, I'm going to defend the Arkansas media in the past. When you guys defended Houston Nutt, it turns out he's been the best coach since we've been in the SEC, with the exception of Bobby Petrino's short period of time. And you know what? I've always defended the fans, but I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Eric Musselman, he's kind of hip hop, but who cares? We got to have that to get these recruits in here. And this guy, he knows how to play the system to get us to have winning seasons, to get us to the Elite Eight, to get us to the Sweet 16. So we should do a contract extension, and I think that's a fatal flaw for Hunter Yurchak. If our football team plays like it did this last year, and Musselman leaves, and we have a terrible basketball season, his job's gone. And if that's the case, I think the only thing the administration can do is hire Dave Van Horn after he wins a national championship to be the athletic director, so that we can have interest. Because I'm telling you, I've got a group chat. It's called Disgruntled Hog Fans, and we've grown up watching Razorback football. We scheduled our Saturdays around it, basketball games, and I hate to say it. Baseball is our last hope. And there's a lot of, my kids, I don't know if they're going to grow up, watching the Razorbacks like I've done, with Chad Morris, type of program. And now, unfortunately, of course, at the end of the day, we want to bring the best coaches. And if they want to go somewhere else, that's fine. And we just need to accept that. But at the same time, we've got to, I don't know, we need some straight talk. I think Dave Van Horn can give us straight talk. I don't think Hunter Yurchak is doing that. These social media games, it's just distracting. Anyway, those are my comments, and hopefully Musselman stays and we can win a national championship with him, but we'll see.
I remember when Coach Richardson was here, we were struggling in football. It was like, well, let's just let Nolan coach everything.
Yeah.
He can coach football, he can coach basketball. Just let him coach it all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let Dave just run the whole deal. Hey, let me pause just for a second, talk about the Market Moment podcast. This is some really interesting listening. If you're one of those who pays attention to your money, Lee and Matt this week, joined by a special guest, Stephanie Aliaga from J.P. Morgan's going to be there. And they got a lot of things they're going to talk about: artificial intelligence, the global market, recession, more. And it's for those, I think, who have heard this podcast, you understand what I'm talking about. You'll learn something each and every time you listen. And you can check out the latest episode of The Market Moment by heading to market-moment.com. You can find out a lot more there. And I'll tell you that Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC, is an SEC-registered investment advisor. They're located in Rogers. And for full disclosures, you can visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
Sometimes when we go through things like this and coaching searches, there's no better way to display artificial intelligence in our state than a potential coaching search. That's for sure. So.
Taking some interesting calls thus far. We got
artificial intelligence.
Yeah, we got two more lines open on the McLarty Daniel hotline if you want to jump in with us. Opie and the other call, we'll get to you as we continue on the Eric Musselman stuff next.
You're good at what you do. I appreciate you having me on.
This is the Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers.
WT Equipment is your home for New Holland ag and construction equipment, sales, parts, and service. For high horsepower row crop tractors and combines, utility tractors and hay equipment, compact track loaders, and mini excavators. WT Equipment has it all. Stop by one of their 8 locations to explore the value of New Holland tractors and see why New Holland hay equipment and twin rotor combines are second to none in harvesting ability. Need to upgrade your construction equipment fleet? Give WT Equipment a call. Come by a store or check out their website, WTEquip.com.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
This is the Morning Rush.
And he's in. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Are you ready to work for one of the area's premier companies? If so, Forsgren wants to offer you a rewarding new career. Forsgren has been building the foundation of the River Valley for over 80 years. Forsgren is recruiting for experienced concrete finishers, equipment operators, truck drivers, and laborers. Forsgren is a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence. Join the Forsgren legacy. Apply now on any device, anywhere at goforsgren.com. That's goforsgren.com. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen, or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
I know we're always on the go, heading to Fayetteville, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, and you need a place to fill up. But not just for gas. I need snacks, drinks, and a restroom that doesn't make me throw up. That's why my new favorite pit stop is Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue on the way out of town. I can't stop by without getting something from their hot box or a fresh-made burger. That's Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything: service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbors since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSAuto.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Tommy, when are they going to start calling carrying again? Is that ever going to happen? Is carrying the basketball ever going to be called again?
Make the game better?
I'm not saying it makes it better or worse. I'm just asking if it's ever going to be called again.
We call it our pickup games.
Do you really?
Yes.
You call carrying? Now that'll start a fight right there. That'll start a fight.
Call it our pickup game. We're sick of watching it. We say carry, we're going the other way.
Oh.
Oh, we got a full
I hope
call
someone
sheet.
hits you right in the mouth when you call carrying.
I don't call it.
Well, you just said you did.
Said we call it, but the proverbial we. I'm liked out
So
there.
soft.
I set screens. I get rebounds. I'm the cliche white guy that plays with a lot of other more talented players. So
Can you jump?
you jump? I box out.
What's your
Chuck.
vertical?
It's a sheet of paper. That's
I
it.
got you.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Can you make a layup?
No, I hit a 3 every once in a while.
No layups, huh?
No, pretty bad at that.
Hey, hay season's just around the corner. Ty can tell you all about that. You've baled a lot of hay in your day, haven't you?
Burley,
Yeah,
Burley guy.
you're a rough
Listen, I got
country
roots
guy.
from St. Vincent, Arkansas, just like Z. I got some country in me.
Yeah, you've never had a work blister on your hand in your life. But hey, you can get great preseason savings right now on New Holland equipment at WT Equipment. They got locations everywhere. Whether you're looking for a compact tractor right now or maybe a mid-range tractor, they've got hay tools and everything you need to go along with that. All the way up to the big T7 series tractors. Find them all at WT Equipment. Hurry in right now for the best deals and the best cabs in the industry, where you can work all day in an environment where comfortable operation comes natural. I can't tell you how many times over the years we've had calls from people on their farming operations listening in their cabs because they've got Wi-Fi in there and they've got radios in there, and they're sitting in there working through their GPS and stuff and taking care of the fields and listening to the morning rush. You could be doing the same. Find a WT Equipment location near you online at WTEquip.com. WT Equipment, they're your partner in progress.
Opie's in Harrison on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. What's up, Opie?
Hello there. Good morning, Arkansas. I heard the news yesterday that Muss was, possibly going to interview over at USC. It upset me. I slept on it, thought about it, and it's, there's nothing to be upset about. I mean, if you're an adult and somebody has a job offer for you, you take the call. If Kansas calls you, Kansas City ESPN calls you, Ty, and wants to offer you a job, you're going to take that call. And so for us to be upset about that, I guess that's natural. If anything, I think Muss might be upset at his agent. Maybe they played this wrong and they, leaked the information and should have kept it close to the chest. I'll take your response all fair.
Right. Opie, I think you bring a good point about the reaction because, guys, if Eric Musselman had had 2 or 3 losing records in a row, we'd fuel the jet for him to go on the interview, right? Yeah. I mean, the reason you're upset is because you're potentially going to lose a really good coach. That's how I feel about it. You wouldn't be upset any other way.
This is how college sports works. They felt the same way at Nevada about 5 years ago. Anybody lost a moment's sleep over that?
They booed.
Absolutely not.
It was either Michael or
Absolutely
Matthew.
not.
Booed during his graduation.
Yeah, they booed him. He was walking.
But my point is they this happens every time something like this occurs. This is the natural reaction for some.
Yeah. Let's talk to Big D in Fort Smith. What's up, Big D?
Hey, how we doing, fellas?
Good, man.
Good.
Love listening to you guys. Been listening for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Never have called in, but I feel like I need to on this Muss deal. I think he gives us the best chance at winning. I hope he stays. And it's like the last caller, he hit the nail on the head. This is business, and that's his business. Whether he stays here, which I hope he does, fine. If he doesn't, well, then we got to move forward. And that worries me because there ain't a whole lot out there to move forward with. But I just think in some cases we're getting the cart ahead of the horse. We get all upset over everything. And it really gets in my craw when I listen to some folks. And Miss Lisa, I love listening to her call in, but I think she's got it all wrong. I think the majority would accept Musselman back and would enjoy the winning season we would see ahead of us. That's about all I got. I just kind of wanted to throw my frustration out there, too.
Thanks, Big D. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Mike's in Fayetteville. Mike, you got about a minute, man. Go ahead.
Yep. Hey, welcome to the state of Arkansas, and thanks, Ty, for taking my call. You said it earlier when you said I would not leave this show. Why? It's not necessarily because of the environment they put you in, maybe not even the money that you're making. It's surely not the flack that you put up with from both Tommy and Chuck.
That's
Let
what
me
we
tell
call
you
a bonus.
what we hear out here is that you are dyed-in-the-wool Razorback. The reason you're in that seat is because of Arkansas. So let's back up for a moment. Muss is not from Arkansas. Petrino's not from Arkansas. These guys they're in their career. They're making career decisions. So we got to remember that as fans, we're tied to the pro. We're like a home buyer, and then you got an agent that's selling the agents there. They're just running a business. we're emotionally attached. So let's back up for a moment. What gets me about Muss is this. With the advent of Zoom and with all of the conference calling that you can do and everything that you can do, you can have so much of this ironed out. Prior to, as Frank Broyle said, getting on the tarmac is where all of a sudden the emotion of the fan comes into play. That's where you're stepping out on your partner and you're cheating on them. And I think that's why we're butthurt this morning. Whether you're in the coffee shops like I am here in Fayetteville in the morning, you're talking about what's going on. And so it's easy to want to dismiss Muss. The moment he decides to stay, if he does, then it'll take a week or two. We'll get over that, but we won't forget it come season when all of a sudden if things go south or the recruiting goes south or things like that. And that's the emotional, that's what we do as a fan here in Arkansas, because this is the only program we have.
Yeah. Mike, appreciate the call. Wish we had more time. We're running up against it, but
call.
yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
Best of the day.
Yeah. All right, more calls coming up. We got to get to your SEC update as well. Joe's Grill and Cantina. It's Throwback Thursday. We've been talking about the past a lot. Throwback Thursday. You can check that out at Joe's. Fajita Friday tomorrow. Don't miss out on that. They're full-flavored charbroiled steak and chicken tenders, all inside their fajitas. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps and Fort Smith.
More of the Morning Rush coming up.
Best sports talk show in Arkansas.
I'm going to be like Rudy leading them on the field. Tommy.
Yeah,
Tommy.
that's right.
Here, Chuck in the booth. What is the crowd cheering?
I can't.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newts. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
Tommy Kraft for the Fitzman. If you've always wanted powered automatic gates at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fitzman. 479-782-3936. The Fitzman does it all. Custom wrought iron installations, automatic gates, even controlled access systems, and lots more. Ask about 18-month, same as cash financing with approved credit. For your custom fence and gate needs, call the Fitzman. 479-782-3936. The Fitzman. He ain't afraid of no work.
TaxAct knows you don't look forward to taxes. TaxAct doesn't even look forward to taxes, and TaxAct is a tax software company. It's basically TaxAct's whole thing. If TaxAct did things over, maybe TaxAct would end up teaching kindergarten or leading fly fishing tours. But that's a different story for a different ad. So why don't we just agree that taxes aren't fun, but you still have to do them? TaxAct's filing software can help you do that. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
This is The Morning Rush.
Diamond Center is proud to present our inaugural Whiskey and Watches event. Now is your chance to get your hands on that timeless timepiece you've been dreaming of. Between now and Thursday, April 25th, in our Fort Smith store, call or stop by to pre-order your watch. Then join us on Thursday, April 25th for a night of celebration featuring rare whiskeys, cigars, and luxury watches. This is your opportunity to add that watch that you've always had an eye on to your collection. For more information or to pre-order your watch today, give us a call. The Diamond Center, celebrating a legacy of love.
Let me grab my car keys and we'll roll.
Are we still going to that new bar downtown?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Lexi, give me driving directions from home to downtown Bar District.
Autocorrect. Suggest Uber. Pick up. Home. Drop off downtown Bar District.
No, I'm driving.
Suggest the Metro bus. Departing in 12 minutes.
Point taken, Lexi. We'll grab a ride.
If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. Brought to you in partnership by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber.
The Steel Horse Rally is coming to town May 3rd and 4th. Get ready for it with Wheeler Power Sports in Fort Smith. Need a new or pre-owned motorcycle to show off on Garrison Avenue at the rally? Need to get new tires or repairs done so you can join the poker run or parade? Need new riding gear? We've been serving the motorcycle community in the Fort Smith area for 57 years and are the 9th oldest Kawasaki dealer in the nation. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
There's big news in the mobile sports betting business. Bet Saracen was just named the 15th largest sports book in America. That's because Arkansans like to do business with a winner. Find all your winners on Bet Saracen. Download it today and look for my Double R prop bet specials. I pick 'em, you win 'em.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
Spring is just around the corner, and Jelco Outdoors is ready with all of your spring fishing gear. Crappie, bass, catfish, Jelco has a great selection of rods, reels, and baits to help you fill that stringer. Spring turkey supplies are rolling in daily, and the firearms department is stocked up with ammo for outdoor shooting. Spring is almost here, so get outdoors and enjoy the spring season. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith, for all your outdoor gear. Think spring, think Jelco Outdoors.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
How do I drive more traffic to my website? How do I increase my Google rankings? If these are just a few of the questions you have for your business, then we should talk. In addition to sports radio marketing, ESPN Arkansas can help your business be found online. From website design to geo-targeted campaigns, search engine marketing, social media management, streaming video campaigns, and much more. ESPN Arkansas is your digital marketing partner. Go to espnarkansasdigital.com for your free digital marketing audit, or email us at sales@hitthatline.com to schedule an appointment.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Except we've got SEC finals. Deal with it. They're the best.
In the SEC, it just means more.
I know one thing. The SEC just got a little tougher.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. Trusted pool experts and your source for backyard fun. Locations in Fort Smith, Springdale, and always online at burtonpools.com.
Lane Kiffin has hired another former head coach, this time being former New York Giants head coach Joe Judd. Now, according to Ole Miss Spirit, his staff job has not been publicly said just yet or publicly known, but Lane Kiffin kind of taking the Nick Saban, Kirby Smart approach where he's got head coaches and plenty of marquee guys on his staff and players too.
Well, and when you get a little heat, you win 10 games a couple years in a row, people want to jump on your train. So it makes not just getting players, but adding elite staff a little easier to do.
Other thing in your SEC update, we hadn't had any time, and we're 42 minutes in the show. We hadn't mentioned this once. The College Sports Tomorrow thing, the combination. Have you read any of that, Tommy?
Tell me about it.
Okay, so it's this group of executives and presidents that have devised a plan, new structure in college football, according to Stuart Mandel and Andrew Marchand. 7 divisions, 10 teams, members of the Power 5, plus Notre Dame and SMU.
TV execs all got to be on board. I mean, we've already seen in the ACC this grant of rights and the lawsuits that have been threatened, the saber rattling going on there. I don't know how you unwind everybody's deals and put all that together. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'd have to think on it more. I've always thought there would be a new division league, some kind of separation in college football where, 30-some-odd, 40-some-odd schools, break away from the existing structure and create their own deal and keep all their own money. And I still think somewhere down the line that's going to be a push. Whether it'll happen, I don't know. But it'll boil down to money and how much it will be, and who has a hand in the pot.
Yep.
And you don't want the music to stop, and you don't have a seat. I know that.
I think it's just difficult to forecast what college sports is going to look like.
You can sound like a fool real quick making declarative statements about what's coming because it all changes pretty fast, and it's still going to boil down to TV markets, brand appeal. How many eyeballs can you bring to screens? That's That's what they want to know.
Tell you what is coming. Arkansas baseball in action tonight. Sunny day, 63. It's going to get a little cold, a little chilly in Fayetteville here. But you got Ole Miss this weekend. You got a midweek, series, 2 games stint with Texas Tech. So you got some marquee games moving forward and some midweek schedule that's really been bolstered and heated up. Here's Dave Van Horn on the upcoming schedule this team has to face.
There's guys that need to get out there and pitch, and we're definitely going to be challenged with the midweek games coming up. Here in April, we've got 2 next week on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we travel. Then we come back. And the next week, we're going to play 2 more in the midweeks. And then at the end of the month, we have 2 midweek games. So there's going to be some 5-game weeks where we're going to use a lot of pitching. A lot of guys are going to get to play, and you're going to find out a little bit about your depth.
We found out a little bit about it. It's really good. Look at the midweek schedule. Look at the fact, and Christian, you brought this up over here earlier. They have run ruled 7 teams this season. They've got a really good midweek record, and they've won 18 straight games at home. Trying to go for 19 games tonight, but as you were talking about in the last segment, trying to hit that national championship is the big thing. Not just be there in the College World Series final, but add that to the resume this year. And that is your SEC update here this morning.
Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas, Springdale and in Fort Smith. If you've got the desire to have a backyard oasis for you and your family, but not sure, A, what would fit, B, what's affordable, C, what are my options, go by the Springdale showroom. You're in Northwest Arkansas or in Fort Smith on 0 Street. They're in Springdale. It's just off I-49 near 412. You've probably driven by Burton Pools and Spas a gazillion times. They've got a stunning outdoor display of in-ground pools. They've got 8 different models of fiberglass pools, and their staff and designers can really show you, best options for you in your backyard. They'll come out, they'll measure, they'll look, they'll survey the situation, put together a computer-generated drawing or rendering to give you a pretty exact idea of how they can make your backyard come to life the way you want it. So if you're thinking about a pool, now is the time. There's discounts and savings up to $12,000 to get you ready for swimming this summer. Burton Pools and Spas, again, Springdale and in Fort Smith, online at burtonpools.com. At Burton Pools and Spas, they build more than pools. They build lasting, long-term relationships.
Let's jump back into the must situation. Philip is calling in from Melbourne, Florida this morning. Philip, how cold is it, or how warm is it? I'll better rephrase. Is in Melbourne this morning?
Actually, it's 67 degrees here right now.
That's
a little
not bad.
breezy.
Not bad.
But it's pretty good down here. I'd like to talk about the must situation. Of course, living here in Florida, I'm a Razorback from the Fort Smith area. And we went to the Gainesville game, and, of course, we got beat by 30. And on the way back to the car with my family, I told them, I said, this is going to be his last year. Not just going to be fired, but you could just tell there was something going on with the team. And I told my family, maybe a player thing, but no, that's a management issue. There's something going on. And you don't take an interview unless you're planning to leave. And so I think he's one of the best coaches in college basketball.
Well, and that's the reason people are upset.
Yeah.
Because if he leaves, the odds of you getting a better coach are thin, right? I got a little pushback earlier about whether or not he's a top 5 coach in the SEC. That's not the point to debate that. The point is he's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you've got top 15 money you're paying, but just because you pay a lot of money to someone doesn't mean they're a great coach. And what we've seen from this guy is his ability to game plan, his ability to scout, his ability to get the most out of the least up to this season has been on the next level. We've seen the potential. This season didn't pan out, but the odds of you getting a better coach than what you've had with Musselman, and I'm talking coach, there's a difference in coach and program manager. That's a long shot in my opinion, because I think he is a really good mechanic of the game. I think he can game plan and put you in a position to win as well as anybody. Portal's a huge deal now. Evaluating talent. There were some misses this year, and that's what's led to this conversation. But we're all PO'd this morning because we know what comes next. It'll be hard to be equal to and certainly difficult to be better than.
All right, let's talk to PA, who's down south in Texarkana this morning. What's up, PA?
Morning, gentlemen. I've changed my mind 3 or 4 times on this thing, but I think I finally come up to my final decision on Coach Muss. I think I want him to come back. I think he just overcompensated as far as getting players in this year's portal. He needed shooters, guards. We overdid the guard. Getting guards. We're shooting guards.
You're right.
Because we had trouble scoring. I think if Muss would go back to his old ways of doing things and really evaluating the kids in the portal the way he has in the past and give it another shot, I think we're right back in the game. Yeah. If he would just give it one more shot. And I'm not begging him to come back now, don't get me wrong. I just wish he'd give it one more go.
He got too far away from defense first when selecting players. That's my thought. He went, hey, we're going to get scores and I'll teach him to play defense. I think that was the miss this year is he thought we could teach him or make him to play defense, but we got to get guys to put the ball in the hole, and he found out you can't coach them up to play defense.
Yeah, those guards that can shoot normally can't stay in front of too many people on defense. They kind of do
that's what happened.
Defense, So it's the way it goes, But I want him to come back. I do. I really do.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. It's always good to hear from PA and Texarkana, and it's been good to hear from all of you this morning on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. If we got about a couple minutes left. You want to jump in, 877-377-6963. I think something else that needs to be brought up and that you all think about every single day is you don't want to go back to post-Nolan pre-Muss, right? I know this year was not good. It's terrible. It stunk. Preseason third in the SEC. You end up, 16 and 17 overall. No one expected that. Not Muss, not the players, not a single fan expected to be as bad as you were. The previous 3 years, I know 2 years ago wasn't the best. I think you went, 8-10 in conference, but you beat the defending national champion. The only thing that matters is postseason. And this guy knows how to win marquee, big-time postseason games. That is irrefutable. There is no pushback. You cannot throw a fact in that says otherwise. He knows how to win. It wasn't just in Arkansas. Did the same thing in Nevada, too. Took that team. Is either the Sweet 16 or Elite Eight. I think it was Sweet 16. I think they lost to Loyola Marymount that year. But you don't want to go back to that. We know, every single one of us know what this program is capable of. We saw it the previous 3 years. Not this past year. We saw it the previous 3 years. We saw it under Coach Nolan Richardson. We saw it. Well, I didn't see it. Y'all saw it under Eddie Sutton. We can do it again. If Muss decides to move on, I'm going to wish him well. I'm going to thank him for restoring Arkansas basketball back to its rightful place in the pecking order. And I'm going to hope like heck Hunter Yurachek knows what he's doing. Because there has been true questions asked of his tenure. And it will be probably the toughest. I know the football thing was, and I guess football will always supersede the basketball coach. But he doesn't really have anything to lean back on if Muss leaves. Because the football team didn't do squat. We'll see if the football team comes up big for him this year. But think about that. The guy that he's been relying on and leaning on as the athletics director, Dave, he didn't hire Dave. Frank did. Is Eric Musselman. And if he leaves, he no longer has that. So he's got to nail this next hire.
Yeah, because here's what I said. We've gotten several calls. We've gotten a few texts. I've gotten a few emails about this is about NIL money, not having enough NIL money. I don't know that that's at the root of all of this. Because I don't believe USC's basketball NIL fund is just burgeoning or overflowing, or Andy Enfield wouldn't have left either. Now, maybe they can raise it with Muss, but I do think if you have to make a change here, it's an opportunity to get this Edge NIL fund and get the right person that can get the general public, people like you and me and all of us listening right now, that, we don't have tens of thousands or even hundreds of dollars to give you on a regular basis, but we can put $25 or $50 a month on our debit or credit card, and we'll figure it out. We're not going to starve to death over $25 or $50 a month. How do you get 5,000 people energized to do that in our state? How do you get the public behind that? Because I think the reason you can't get the big boys right now, the Tysons and the Hunts and I'm just throwing out corporate names. The reason you can't get the 7-figure people is they don't believe the public sentiment is on the side of that. And they still, even though they got all the money in the world, want to side with where the public sentiment's at. here's an opportunity maybe to change that could be buried in all this flux right now.
We'll see if anything comes out of today. Make sure you're tuned in to Phil Elson at halftime, Ruskin and Zach later on, and they will have your updates right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hello there, homeowner. Roger Scott for Leaf Guard Gutters of Arkansas.